Hello. Okay. Hi. Hello, everybody. How are you doing? How are you feeling? Hopefully, everybody is doing well and feeling well. Sky Pirate K, Sorcerer, Ronan, AGM, Ryan, yeah, hello, Marcos Latimer, Sound Alerts, what's going on? I hope everybody's doing all right. I hope you're having a good Tuesday. I hope you're feeling well. I hope you're enjoying X Defiant, as I'm sure all of you are. I know we have a lot of hardcore FPS arena shooter fans in here. Blaze Henry, what's going on? And Sagman, what's happening? I just, now I'm so like discombobulated after yesterday. I don't know what to do. We have a few topics. Nothing. I guess stuff that you guys can fill me in on. But like I saw this thing about the studio closing. What do we got here? The studio closing. There was another story. I saw the Dolby surround thing. You guys sent me that. I'm kind of curious about that one. I'm so hardcore, I'm not even a fan. Lol, nope. Mario Land Run, I did think about that. I did think about what we were going to do today. Because I have just a couple of topics, but I nothing really. I don't know that there's anything beefy here. So what are we going to talk about? Yeah, just like a couple of things, but you know how we do, Ryan. We just spin off into the same things, or we won't talk about anything, and we'll just find something to play. Oh, that's right. We never talked about that. We didn't talk about the whole Shiver Studios thing. Random. I didn't set one up. AI. Yeah. Never mind, Lilac. There's a lot we can talk about here. There's a lot I can flesh out. I forgot about that AI story, which is crazy. There's the two of them. There's the AI story, which is, hold on. What was the thing? What was the AI story? What was the thing called? There was a name for it. And then there was the other one, which is the co-pilot thing. Not the co-pilot thing. There, Recall. Thank you. Was it called Recall? Yeah, no, co-pilot was the other thing. I do want to talk about that because I think that's kind of interesting. That happened. Yeah. Well, Marcos, we didn't get to talk about anything. The co-pilot stuff I think was last night, but then the studio thing was the day before yesterday. So we didn't get to chat about any of that stuff. Greetings. It's me, your favorite commenter. Are you gearing up, Ryan? You gearing up for, how far away is MomoCon from you? Is MomoCon like a trip for you, or do you wake up in the morning at home, get dressed, and go to the convention? That sounds awesome, by the way. No, KH, you're so hardcore into FPS arena shooters. You've already passed the part where you tried playing it, and you've already gotten to the phase where it has a bunch of mechanics that you don't like. You don't like the bugs and glitches. You think that the skill-based matchmaking sucks, and you have already stopped playing it. You have already started pissed off. You started past the honeymoon phase, and now you are already at the part of the game where you don't want to play it anymore. Sky Pirate with the 10 stream streak. Thank you so much. I'm going through all the comments here. Just a funny story for today. Just 10 minutes ago, a taco store in Mexico City witnessed a gang of 6 mariachis being attacked by a guy spitting fire in the street. And Mexicans' reaction, everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. I mean, it's a good reaction. Stream more ME1 today, Mass Effect 1. I wept at a small colony full of infected people, rescued a woman. She gave me information, and I put 2 in the back of her head. I went to join the fight on a tropical planet and shot infected people, freed one guy, and offered an innocent woman. In conclusion, my renegade run is insane. So wait, you freed one guy. Did you free what was his name? Conrad Werner? Did you let him go? Oh, the shiver thing happened right. The shiver thing happened right after we finished stream. Okay. And the AI stuff happened at night. It's Recall as the thing they claim is that it's local only, access via Edge and the screenshots of your computer, and can then use the AI to do general searches for stuff you don't, and it'll generate results from both words and images around that search. It recalls your past. Supposedly, you also need to you have to like download it too, right? Supposedly, it's going to be like 250 gigs on your system, so it's not even like it's just going to be built. I'd be more concerned if it was built in. Excuse me. I'm staying down there since I'm an assistant director, so I spend a lot of time working. It comps the hotel for us at BSC, so we stay there and record in the evenings and nights. MomoCon's about an hour away from me normally, so that's not bad. Issue is that's only how it starts to. Oh yeah, exactly, Lilac. It becomes, and Lilac. It's the same thing we always talk about. It's the moving the goalposts, right? We're okay with it because you have to download it yourself, and it only works with Microsoft Edge. Oh, well, they expanded it for Google. That kind of makes sense because some people don't use Edge, but they still want to have those features. Oh, that's convenient that it adds it onto your computer automatically, and then you have to enable it. Oh, well, that's good because some people. It's good that it's already enabled because some people can't find it to disable. Like that's how it works. And then slowly but surely, it seamlessly works its way into our lives, and we just don't even notice it. And it's just there. And then somebody gets hacked and they lose all of their information because that robot is there. And then we remember that we're supposed to hate it, and then we forget about it in 2 days. What's this? Mass Effect. Okay. Kind of wish I was going to MomoCon this year because the guest list is nice. IGN gave 1,000 Year. Oh yeah, the 1,000 Year Door reviews are in, and I think the lowest one I saw was like an 8. So it's my Friday. However, my week got extended by 1 day, so tomorrow is my Friday, and I got Thursday, and Friday off. Which works out. I can play Paper Mario and see how mid it is. Yeah, but the reviews did come in. So today was the lift of the review embargo, and yeah, it was like 8s to 10s across the board. It'll be built in eventually. They'll do this as optional to get people to adopt and accept it, and then when it's mandatory, it's too late. Yeah, and that's how it works. The main issue is the same that occurs when you agree with allowing any app to have access to your device. They say it works for X app, but in reality, it accesses all your devices, and you don't even notice it. I forgot to mention there's a clip from my stream in follower forum of a glitch. Is that? Oh, this is it here. I just saw it. With what we're learning about 1,000 Year Door now, people are still arguing. I mean, people are going to be arguing about it. Gold. People are going to argue about that game no matter what, because it's a remake or a remaster of an old game that is very, very beloved, which means a bunch of people are going to be pissed off because it's not what they think they remember. A bunch of people are going to be mad because it gets a lot of praise and maybe even awards. Like I suspect that this game would probably be up for an award somewhere, and if people are going to get mad because, oh my god, these remakes in the award ceremony, even though they also complain that the award ceremonies are irrelevant, it's always going to happen. It's always going to happen. They got rid of one thing, right? I mean, it doesn't really change the argument, right? Because there was a whole big thing about whether or not Vivian was going to be confirmed as a trans character. So even though it's a ghost, but they did confirm that. It has the screenshot that's on there. Like people are sharing the screenshot. So now there's people that are complaining. Like people were going to complain about that either way. Either they were going to change it and they were going to complain, or they weren't going to change it and they were going to complain. It's just at this point, Gold, like obviously we talk about stuff because it's interesting to talk about stuff, but realistically, I think that there's just certain things you should always expect, which is someone's going to piss and moan about something. That it's always going to be something. There's always going to be some aspect of like it's to the point where I discuss it, but I try not to give credence or value to the idea that someone's complaining about it, because someone's always complaining about something. There's always going to be something that they decide that they want to get mad about. It's more interesting to me to wait a while and then see what people say afterwards. Because the initial complainers, we say this all the time. The initial complainers, they're going to piss and moan, and then they're going to move on to the next thing. Eventually, within months, they're going to move on to the next thing to complain about. So when they're gone, I feel like then you're going to get a more objective review about aspects of the game. Yeah, Nintendo made the right. Yeah, and as far as that specific situation goes, Nintendo made the right choice. You don't bow to anybody else. You make the game and you make the character the way you want it to. Hold on, going back up. Glowing reviews, and as someone who's new to Thousand Year Door, I'm excited to play for the first time. It's so good. This is also a rare remake that's actually getting better ratings than the OG. And you know what? Gold? This is something that I was telling people that we had talked about, like the nature of remakes and remasters and stuff. Thousand Year Door, that game was rated so high, and that game is so beloved. You literally only have to do the same thing and make it look better. And someone's still gonna complain because they don't like the way it looks compared to the old one. But if you make the same exact game, but you make it look a bit better, and you add some quality of life stuff, right? Being able to save anywhere, items that stack a certain way. Like if you just add stuff like that, the game naturally is better. And it looks like that's what they did. Nowadays, it's all about which company do you want to spy on you. Like even when doing a phone call, your camera and recorder is on in the background because one of the apps got access to your device. Even Xenoblade DE, which is just a much better than the Wii version, could not pull that off. Really? The Wii version ranked better? That's interesting. Xenoblade was kind of this weird beast, too. There was this weird, like, I don't know, like, I feel like it's kind of strange because not a lot of people played the first one because it was like, for a while, it was an exclusive game or something. Like, there was something special about the original one. I read people upset. It did, yeah, like some companies gave it an 8 and a 9, and then people were just mad that it didn't get a 10, like Paper Mario. I forgot about the scalpers being mad about the remake, but who cares what they think? Yeah, I don't really care what they think. Meanwhile, I'm here asking if the chalk drawing of the that's true. That's true. That's what that is confirmed to be there, right? People get upset about a text box in a game. It's funny. Hey, Dragoon, package drama hopefully come to an end after 3 hours of waiting. They said, we don't know where it is. Oh, we found it. Oh, wait, never mind. Package drama still going on. Thousand Year Door apparently issue negative reviews seem to have is it didn't change enough, which is crazy to see. Which we've seen that before. Like, it's the same game. It's like, do you want the same game or do you want it to be different? I don't know what you want. People said that about, I think they said that about Mario RPG. Didn't people say that about that game? Like, it's basically the same exact game. It's like, okay, yeah. But if they changed too much, you would have thrown a fit. And it sadly did not seem to fix the side quest backtracking in the HD version. Oh, you can still only take one quest at a time. Prime Remastered scored higher than the original, so that's another one. I mean, like, I'd be interested to see what happens. Like Resident Evil 4. You know, how did Resident Evil 4? How about Resident Evil 2? Did Resident Evil 2 rank higher? I feel like Resident Evil 1 is kind of weird because, like, I think that the GameCube version was significantly better than the original version, but there's like a weird nostalgia for the original version, so people like that one better, I think. Oh, why removing the Toad outline didn't even matter if it's in. Was it important or anything? Lilac, because people used it as this sort of litmus test of whether or not Nintendo was gonna like baby us, right? Everybody kind of looked at it like, oh my god, are they gonna remove the Toad outline? It's like, I think that I to be completely honest, I was like, I don't really see the, like, I know that there's the possibility that they could have, but it's like, I don't really think it's important, right? Is that what we're arguing about now? So it makes things so funny. They want it to not change because it was perfect, but then when they don't go, it's the same. But then don't they go? It's the same game. Why would I buy it at full price, ignoring everything else? And that's the thing I think that annoys me the most. It's like, well, you can at least get it for cheaper than if you buy the original game, even if it was the same price. Even if the original game out there right now was $10, And oh, why would I pay $60 if I can pay $10 for the original one? But you have to buy a GameCube, and not everybody has one. If you're going to say that you have one, and you have to figure out a way to hook it up to a modern display, and not everybody has that hookup. If you're going to say you already have one, and maybe people want the quality of life features, like it just like then don't buy it. I'm so that Paper Mario. I don't know why Paper Mario is one of the games. And maybe it's just because I'm really into the game, but it's definitely one of the games where I hear some of the complaining about it's the same game. It looks different. It's why am I paying for this? It's just like then don't play it. Nobody cares. Nobody cares that you're standing. You are literally the guy standing in the corner at the party saying they don't know how much I don't like remakes. Nobody cares. Yeah, they left a noose in it. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like they left a noose in it. They did seem to have fixed the crystal hunt, since now you can flip the door with your basic hammer. I know the 4 remake is better game, but there's something arcadey of the original 4. And then we seem to know they don't add very much. Do you still think it's worth full price as a remake? Yeah, absolutely. With just the graphics, yeah, absolutely. And again, it's not just the graphics and quality of life. It's ease of playing the game. Go and buy the original. And again, even if the original was $10, go and buy the original and then buy a GameCube and then buy an adapter to play it on an HDMI and then deal with there was no jank in that game, but then by the way, you need a memory card. You're going to need a memory card if you're buying it's 100% worth it. It's just, there should be, if you are curious about Paper Mario, or if you are a fan of Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, there is literally no reason to not buy this copy of the game. I just don't think there is. Other than, let's see when it comes out and maybe there's a performance problem, but I feel like the reviews would have reflected that. Only time we got mad at getting the same game again from remake is from Pokemon. Well, which one are you talking about? Sims Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl? Wasn't there problems with that game? I remember people were it wasn't just that it was a remake or like a basic remake sort of game. I think people were mad like something was actually wrong with it, right? Or was it just a basic remake of a game? RE2 and RE2 remake, just about the same rating, 91 and 93. At least the PS version of RE2 has it that high. The outline means not a game for babies, as we are gamers, not babies. I don't know. Hawk, the sad thing is that sounds accurate. That sounds accurate. I'd rather pay $60 for the remaster than buy Thousand Year Door from a used game store for $200. And again, Marcos, and this is the third time I'll say it. Even if you weren't buying Thousand Year Door from a game store for $200, even if you walked into a game store and it was $10, you also have to buy a GameCube and an adapter and a memory card, and you're not going to have any quality of life features. Like, you have to do all of that stuff. This is why I don't really understand the complaint about it's a remake. How dare they? It's a remaster. I can't believe they did this. All right, what are the hoops that you have to jump through to play the original though? And if you care so much that this game is there and it costs full price because you could have played it before, why haven't you played it before? Do you have it now? Do you already have the GameCube with the adapters and the game itself? Then what are you bitching about? Go play that game. Nobody's telling you to go and buy and pay $60 for the game. Go play it. Stop telling other people what they shouldn't do with their money. This is ham sandwiches. Hold on, I'm jumping ahead here. This sucks, actually. People who really enjoy said thing, let me tell you why I don't want you to enjoy it. Yeah, let me tell you why you're wrong in enjoying the thing that you know you enjoy. BDSP has a lot of problems. Yeah, that's why I wasn't too sure. I know that was a game that I remember hearing people talk about, and like fundamentally it had a lot of issues. Hang on. In this case, you can make that question about anything. It's a nice little detail how messed up Rogueport is. In a way, you can apply that does it matter logic to Vivian's character, as it was a nice detail that got altered without changing the story. Nobody played the NA version, saying 7 out of 10 Vivian needs to be trans. AGM. Nobody said that originally, but there were a lot of people that were saying if the game comes out and that's not the case, they're going to be pissed off. Unfortunately, there actually were people who were saying that. And I don't know how important the chalk outline was for you, but there were people, like I said, there were people who used this as some sort of a litmus test to decide whether or not Nintendo was too woke or something. And I hate using that word, but you understand what I mean. Like, people, they have this mindset that companies that they're being babied by companies. And then if they remove the chalk outline, oh my God, they think that we're all children. But aren't you complaining that the system, that Nintendo is a video game company for babies anyway? Anybody who would complain about that is probably the kind of person who says, why would you play this game? It's for babies. So what the hell are you doing here? I don't get it. I don't get it. I thought, as reports, it was confirmed to be reflecting the original Japanese. Cool. While their identity is part of the character, it also didn't matter in the grand scheme of things. If they could also easily change it in the NA version. Yeah, and you're right. And Lilac, you're absolutely right. Like, that was changed in the NA version, and I didn't find that out until later. I didn't know until later that, oh, okay, that was a thing. It's like, all right, it had no bearing on the story whatsoever. BDSP has some issues, but its major complaint was, as always, it's still too true of a remake. See, I feel like I don't know, Dragoon. I feel like there was this weird back and forth where some people said that and some people said it was too different. It's such a weird sort of thing that I remember that, and I didn't play the game, so I wasn't in the discourse the way I am with some other things. But I remember, like, I think that's what confuses me about BDSP is that I remember the discourse feeling like it was all over the place. Like, I couldn't ever nail down. I watched Arlo's video. Arlo did like a crazy long video about it, and I watched that video, and by the end of it, I was still like, I'm not really sure. Like, I don't understand what you don't like about it, that you made an hour long or however long the video. It was like a crazy long video. I just remember sitting there thinking, like, I watched the whole thing and I just remember thinking, I still don't know what is the point. Like, what's so bad that you're this upset? That was kind of the thing with BDSP. And it wasn't like I know the problems. I don't think they're that important. There was a part of, like, I don't think I understand the problem. So you can find a Shiny Hunt Arceus, but only if you buy another $60 game and fully complete it. Not really, it's just a fun little detail. Wait, hold on. What's that? They did add mythical encounters in BDSP. Nintendo's going. I can say the same thing for Aurus, which didn't have the Emerald stuff, so I didn't buy it. Hang on. I'm trying to jump ahead here. I think hanging out on something just to tell people it's for babies is borderline. It is weird. Executor, I used to say that about Star Wars. Where like when the sequels were coming out and other content was coming out and people are like, oh my God, this franchise has been off since the prequels. It's like, well, then why are you here? I don't understand. What are you doing here? If you don't like something and you haven't liked something for an entire series of movies and a series of TV shows and books and a massive decision where they removed most of the expanded universe, and you think that this is a continuing sign that the franchise is dead, then why are you here? Leave. Go do something else. Go watch Star Trek. And then if and when you see something that catches your eye positively about Star Wars, you come back. So I just feel the same way with a lot of other franchises. It's like, and just things in general. You know, gaming sucks nowadays. Pokemon sucks nowadays. Final Fantasy sucks nowadays. And all right, then go do something else. Do any? I mean, we're talking about how there are so many games out there that they're fighting for our time. So go play any one of the other games. Just do something else. I don't understand why. And I think this kind of goes beyond just video games and discourse in general. I don't understand why people have this desire to engage in things that they actively admit they don't like. I'm not sure I understand the logic in that. Why would I want to fill my life purposely with things that I stand there and actively say I don't like this thing? Why the hell would I do that? It's so strange to me. And again, this goes beyond video games. It's so strange to me that I see people do that. You know, it's the people that come in every day at my job and I hear them bitch about their jobs, and then when the topic of work from home comes up, they don't want to do it. It's like you complain all the time that you don't like being at your job, but then you have an opportunity to work from home and you don't want to do it. I don't understand. What's your desire to be at this place that you claim constantly you don't like? I just don't understand it. Do I think Pokemon Black and White will get remakes? I know that's what everybody wants. BDSP also locked the entire game to Gen 4 and below Mons, which is kind of weird. That is definitely kind of weird, but I don't know. No one said BDSP was different. They wanted it to be more like Platinum, but it was the true remake of Diamond and Pearl. It's not a big deal. It won't hamper my enjoyment of a game at all, but it is a tad annoying. Nintendo feels the need to remove interesting details for weird reasons. It's like how Nintendo is deathly afraid of the T rating for Smash Bros. So Mai Shiranui, I always get her name wrong, can't be in there because protect the children or something. Yeah. Meanwhile, Pythra gets to be in it. Yeah, I mean, there was definitely a massive bit of inconsistency with that, and then it was kind of like, why? Why? That is such a weird thing. Like and you're right. It is a relative, like it's inconsistent to put Pythra in the game and then not put Mai, and then say that it's because, you know, which I think that the whole good girls and boys thing or Smash is for good boys and girls, I think that was just some sort of a joke. I don't actually think that there was any sort of like censoring problem. I mean, I would question it though. I would question whether or not that was the case. But you know, we saw the mock-ups of the her with a different outfit on, so I feel like and they did that with Pythra. So there was no reason for them not to do that, and it was a bit out of character. But I don't know. I feel like, but then you have moments like this where they do all of this stuff that everybody was afraid they were going to backpedal on, but no one's going to care because the next time they do something even remotely insignificant, people are going to say, "Oh my God, they did it again." No, the remake did that. HGSS and Auras let you use all the Mons all the way to the gen it represented. There were a whole bunch of small issues that add up. And then you have Bayonetta literally doing stripper dances with her clothes off and her hair covering her body. People that did it in the GameCube version, it doesn't matter if new players can't access it. They have a right to never have to pay any price for the remake. Well, yeah, that's just true. I mean, I can't even disagree. That's just true. BDSP was a 1-to-1, the same, just in better graphics, same movement, same bugs, same issue, same speed. It didn't fix anything. It used the base source code for Diamond and Pearl and not Platinum, which also means the bonus content from Platinum isn't in BDSP. Okay, that's a bit, yeah. So it's not a remake. It's a remaster, right? If it's using the same source code, I mean, again, we always get into this whenever this topic comes up. If they use the same source code, it's a remake, right? Or it's a remaster, right? They didn't rebuild it from the ground up. I'm just here to spread hate. The person being a jackass just for the sake of being one. Like, yeah, I don't know. Doesn't matter if things have changed. It's a thing I like. No one should like the change because they don't understand. Well, the problem is that they're complaining that it didn't change enough. I don't think it's about them not liking it, but rather they find more enjoyment in the anger than in actually enjoying the. And I guess in AGM, if that's true, then that's definitely what I don't understand. I don't understand why. Like, is that true for people? Is there this logic that sitting there seething about how angry you are about something, does that feel good? Does that genuinely feel better? Like, what's wrong with your life? And I am talking to anybody that agrees that this is a yes. What is wrong with your life that you think that is an enjoyable thing to do? Doesn't that sound crazy? That I find enjoyment in engaging in an opinion and a discussion that is its only purpose is to upset other people. Because again, you cannot like something all you want, but making sure that you are standing in a room of people who do like it so that you can tell them how wrong they are, that's insane. It's crazy to me. It's not a big deal. It's just confusing when Nintendo's really inconsistent about it. No chalk outline, no mail. But Pythra, Bayonetta are okay. Underage Romance and Fire Emblem is okay. It's like Nintendo. Yeah. Yeah, the Fire Emblem. I like the Fire Emblem stuff was kind of like, we're kind of, I don't know what we're doing here. I want to say Princess Ryan. I'm not pulling a tantrum over the missing chalkboard texture. But again, I like, why is this not there? Because I need to justify the, and I think that's the difference. AGM, and I think that's the big difference. I think there's a huge distinction between why is this not there and why isn't that there? There's a massive distinction there. And there are a lot of people that their immediate reaction, even if they mean the second one, is to act like the first one, right? To act all ragey. But there is also a counter reaction where anybody who genuinely says, why isn't that there? Other people assume, well, why are you mad about it? I'm not mad about it. I'm just kind of curious. We have these examples, right? Bayonetta and Pythra, and we have all of these weird things that go on, and it's weird that they would remove it. It's like, oh, well, you're just trying to hate on the game. No, I'm not trying to hate on the game. I'm genuinely curious. I have a real, actual, solid question that I'm allowed to ask. And there's a distinction between those two things, but people use them wrong. they react. They say one and mean another, or they react to one and they interpret it as another or something. You're not allowed to you're not allowed to not want to engage it. That's burying your head. Yeah. Pythra, however, got changed costumes for what we can gather. The SNK team said, no, we won't do it. So that's why I think that the whole, it's for good girls and boys, I think that's actually masking something else, where it's like, oh, I think that somebody said no. It's not even a Smash's team's decision on changing Mai's outfit. That's all SNK's decision. So if SNK doesn't want to bend the knee, that's probably what happened, is that SNK said, we don't want to do that. In which case everybody else would have said, well, what the hell not? Why the hell not? And don't forget, Square told us we're getting Sephiroth, so Final Fantasy was very bare at the start of Ultimate. At that point, I do apologize, and I'm making sure texts get listened to in a way that pleases the and that's an AGM, and that's the issue with talking online, is that all of the nuance of a discussion gets lost, all of the nuance of conversation gets lost, and again, like I said, why isn't that there? When there's a difference, right? The angry one and then the actual questioning one. But when you type it online and you say, why isn't that there? There's no nuance to that. So everybody's going to interpret it the way that is most polarizing to them. And I'll jump off of this really quick because I think that this is starting to spin off into a more like the state of society, and there is a sensation of not looking at it in the inquisitive way. We do have a habit of, if we see something that can be interpreted as somebody's being toxic, we take it as being toxic. We're very defensive. Everybody talks about how we have short tempers and short attention spans and blah, blah, blah. I think one of the other problems is that everybody's kind of gotten defensive. Everybody feels like everybody else is on the attack. And to be fair, there are a lot of people that are on the attack, but there's also a lot of people that are not on the attack. They just want to ask questions and they want to engage in a conversation. But everybody's so defensive about something that's being done or said that their assumption is I have to protect myself at all times. And you're not allowed. You're like not allowed to engage in it. Like I said, you're not allowed to engage in any of that. Because either you're being hostile but you can't disengage from it because you're burying your head in the sand. Sorry, it's spinning off into a weird thing, so I'm going to jump away from that. But it's more Nintendo would have had to change the rating from E10 to T if Mai was in there. It's like, yeah, I don't know why anybody would care that it's T. Melee was T, and it was the best-selling GameCube game. They're just allergic to that rating. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know. Because Ryan, it's not like they have to make the sponsors happy for all of the giant Smash Bros. Tournaments they throw. You know, it's not like they've got some sponsors to please. They were literally me and my teens always bringing up my hatred for 10 when somebody would bring it up. And like, I don't know, I guess, and like your teens, all right, if you're trying to be a smart ass, that's, but I don't know. I think that's another problem is that we have this image of this. We know the look. I don't even have to describe it. We know the image that we have of the person that's sitting there at their computer, raging for the sake of raging. Everybody has the same visual image in their minds. Hey Trios, anyone want a code for Mountain Zoo for Final Fantasy 14? Turns out my teeny tiny fine print square says you can't redeem this code in a free trial account. No. We'll settle the differences in 1v1 on Rust. Wait, Rust. Wait. What do I know that from? What's Rust from? I mean, there's a game called Rust. Or do you mean Rust? Are you talking about the game? Sag, are you talking about the game Rust? Not to say on it, look how defensive conversations about 16 was crazy. It was wild. And some of the people on the attack aren't even people. They're Shiranui in bio. It's a map in MW2. Oh, okay. Because there's also a game. I think there's also a game called Rust. Speaking of that, I kind of mentioned it. I touched on it really quickly. XDefiant is a new game that came out today. It's Ubisoft. But it's like an arena shooter. I think it's a 6v6 shooter with all of the standard modes, right? Domination and all of those modes. I might check it out. If I wasn't playing Paper Mario all weekend, I would probably spend some time and play XDefiant. Can I redeem an EU? I give it a shot. Palutena has a taunt where she literally does the stripper pole dance. Isn't Rust from Counter-Strike? Is it? I mean, Counter-Strike. I don't know if Counter-Strike kind of pioneered a lot of that stuff, right? Stuff like what's it called? Bomb plan. The bomb mode. What's that actually called? That's not domination. That's What's that? That's not S&D. That's not S&D, is it? Is that S&D? S&D is the bomb planting. There's S&D. There's domination. I think is the one with the 3 different zones, and you have to control at least 2 of them. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. You know what game had them? You know, because I never play Counter-Strike and Call of Duty, like I didn't really do any of that. Multiplayer, I never actually owned a Call of Duty game to be playing those multiplayer modes. Gundam Evolution had a lot of that stuff. Gundam Evolution had a couple of those modes. Does it need mandatory Ubi account linking? I'm assuming it does. I haven't played it yet. The mental image of the angry person at the computer. Sims. A version of that. Which I heard a cool story. Apparently that guy is like, his son is a game dev or something. He's the pirate software guy. Apparently that's like his dad or something. Poor Gundam Evolution. Yeah, Gundam Evolution, man. What an interesting game that just got bludgeoned by itself. They microtransaction the hell out of that game. That was another game where I thought the UI was kind of confusing. I had trouble navigating all of that UI stuff with that game for some reason. And yeah, just eventually I think it took too long to come out to the consoles. And I think when it came out to consoles, it was already on season 2 or something. And it was just like, man, this is dead. I think I got like 2 weeks out of it, and then nobody was playing it anymore. Me and my brother played CS a lot. Do you see the new Windows AI code? Yeah, we haven't talked about that yet. I wanted to get into that. One amount for 14. I don't know. Am I able to? Because my account's not active for 14, so I don't know if I'm allowed to register that. Am I? And he's saying to me, yeah. AGM plays the game. There you go. Yeah, see if it's region locked first. It might be. Well, if it's NA, it should work there. Yeah. I keep thinking it's US, but but the region is NA. Probably not. Usually, if the account has not been active for 30 days, you can't sub. What do you mean? Wait. Well, I can't add points because I can sub. If I go into the game right now, it'll let me sub. Oh, that thing is Canada. That's the thing. Canada is blocked. Oh, so Canada is in NA, but isn't part of the NA region for that. I guess where the fine print was how to redeem your code screen. Microtransaction, the new speed running trick, killing your game. No, I think the microtransactions can work really well to keep your game alive. I think the problem is, Sims, when you bombard it with that, when you make it too complicated, when you make it too overwhelming, and again, stuff like the UI, it's very confusing, and it's a lot of it just comes down to interaction with the game itself. And if you make it easy to get into the game and you make it easy that you can just play it without doing anything, that's fine. But if you have to navigate a bunch of windows, if you have to close a bunch of prompts that tell you to go to the store and buy all of this stuff, people don't want to do that. They don't want to do that. And they're going to move on to the next thing. Thoughts on the Joy-Con Drift lawsuit getting dismissed after 5 years? I mean, it feels like that's what they did on purpose. There was a ruling for that too. Wasn't there a reason that they cited for why it was dismissed? I mean, it definitely sounds like they just sat on it and waited for it to sort of go to the wayside when nobody was paying attention. Yeah, I'm not too surprised. I'm back and with pork and rice. It's a shame. It's a shame. Here's the thing though. It's a shame that they would throw out that case, but and I know that this isn't really a fine thing because it shouldn't be happening in the first place, but they do fix it. And I think they fix it for free if it's the Joy-Cons themselves. So, like, it sucks that it's happening at all, but they do fix it. My problem is while they're fixing it, unless you go out and buy another set of Joy-Con, you can't play the game. Like, you can't play anything with it. I don't think so anyway. I don't know how many games work well with the touchscreen. Oh, that's what I mean. If you've been unsubbed for 30 or more days, okay. So I would have to sub for a month and then redeem it. I used to play CS back in high school. I'm now playing Val. Yeah, I like Val. Val, I think, is the natural progression. If you want something that's more bright and colorful, but not CS, I think Val is the next thing that you should be shifting to. I see AJ is streaming. I can see AJ is streaming XDefiant now. And guess what? So yeah, I mean. I was watching a stream earlier, GG, and the person was having server issues. To be honest, though, that's like a first day thing, right? I like people were mad and they're like, "Oh my god, great game!" And it's like, yeah, it really shouldn't be having server issues at all. But I feel like we play a ton of games that the first day is all busted. And again, it doesn't excuse anything. But I'm not going to sit there and judge the entire. I'm not going to do the same thing that everybody else does. Like, this game is garbage. It's like, no, it's just having a bunch of problems. Give it a couple of days and they'll fix the problems. And then all of a sudden you'll think it's great. And then you'll play it for a month. And then you'll start getting curb stomped and you won't want to play it anymore. Touchscreen. The Switch. The Switch has a touchscreen. Do any of the games work with the touchscreen? Like, can I play Suika game with the I don't know if there's any games that actually work with the touchscreen. Like to actually play the game. Server issues. Day one is a really bad look. Yeah, the Switch has a touchscreen, right? See, now you're gaslighting me. Now I don't know. Now I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure it has a touchscreen. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think that there's any games that, like, you can navigate the UI, but I don't think there's any games that actually you can play. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker has a touch screen as a button. Oh, so maybe you can play Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker. There you go. We got one. Yeah, if it has a touch screen, why do no games use it? I don't know. I don't know what the point of the touch screen was if you were never going to use it for that. I saw someone wants to leave a review for a game that was in beta, complaining there was nothing to do. It's a beta game, you know? It's touchscreen. In fact, a Pokemon Cafe can only be played via the touchscreen. It will not let you use a controller. Interesting. Really? Okami lets you use the touchscreen for the brush. I think it does. Think only Mario Maker 2 really uses it. When you look at the lawsuit, the reason it was dismissed because the parent were trying to have their kids sue Nintendo because Nintendo EULA says you can't sue unless you arbitrate, and the parent tried to argue that we're not suing you, the kids are. Oh, brother. There's a Dragoon. There's a story that gets buried in the details. Can you move Toad with just the touchscreen? Doesn't he like auto walk or something? I used to switch his touchscreen. Yeah, and you can use the apps. You can use you got YouTube, you got a Twitch app, which is kind of okay. I think Crunchyroll is on there, right? I think Netflix is on. Is Netflix on the Switch? Get an hour. I'm glad I get an hour lunch so I can chill here with you guys. I thank you for spending your hour with us. I appreciate that. Touchscreen feels so much worse than this on Switch. It is. Nothing. You know what? In all honesty, Wario, just Hulu. Nothing says you don't care about the touchscreen that you're adding, like you didn't put a stylus on the system. The second you say, "Oh, it's going to be a touchscreen," there's no stylus built in. Then what the hell's the touchscreen for? You have just guaranteed that you don't care about the touchscreen. And that's why it took so long to dismiss, because the parents and their lawyers kept arguing the kids can't be bound by a contract, so the EULA doesn't apply. Screw you again. And the judge was not amused that that was their only argument they kept making. Honestly, I wouldn't mind a lack of touchscreen on Switch 2 if it. Yeah, I don't. And Brian, that's like. It didn't serve any purpose. I don't know. It's just, there was no reason for it. It didn't feel like there was any reason to do that. Does Mario Maker 2 even use the touchscreen? I don't know. But it doesn't have a stylus. So that kind of makes it clunky. Project Nintendo up the Switch 2. In fairness, almost every phone and tablet has a touchscreen without a stylus standard. Yes, but they are touchscreen devices. Their entire functionality is built around touchscreen. So there's a reason you have to go all in with that. Which, by the way, sorry, it was an awkward angle. Mine actually does. I made it a point to get a device that has a stylus on it. Easy way around it. Kids are minors in the eyes of the law, therefore we're acting in proxy of them. Yeah, which is the obvious like thing you do there. I think they'll use the touchscreen for the Switch 2 just for the DS games. This new job of mine has more leeway with lunch breaks. Old job didn't allow all that much. Plus lunchtime was shorter. Judge Nintendo agreed. The kid uses the Switch, but the parents own it. Yeah, it's the parents paid for it, so it's theirs technically. Twewy, uses the touchscreen too, apparently. Yeah, like I just that wasn't like, what do you mean they don't come with styluses? That was like, yeah, most phones don't come with styluses. Mine does though, isn't that cool? Yeah, that was more just like, yeah, they don't ever come with styluses, but check this out. You click it open. They were trying to future-proof. Since they were coming off the DS-related systems, I guess so. The weirder part is that the Switch actually paid enough to have their 5-point multi-touch screen, but it still lags like hell and feels like ass. I just don't think it's that great. I think that the vast majority of people would rather, if you're going to spend money, and I don't know how much money goes into that stuff, but if you're going to spend extra money on a touchscreen, I think the vast majority of people would rather you spend that money on an OLED screen, or at least a better quality screen. Probably cheaper to have the screen built in with the touchscreen. Yeah, maybe they got the touchscreens on a discount. Maybe they were able to buy 140 million discounted touchscreens. Only use stylus for my tablet when I play DS games on that. Genshin would use the touchscreen in the Switch if the Switch port ever came out. Just do the DS touchscreen again. I don't know. I like the DS situation is always kind of weird because people always said that, like, oh, you should use the DS for the Switch and you could use the touchscreen. It's like, but how would you do that? Like, so basically the here's the thing with the DS, like for what everybody asks about the DS, where like the DS app, and they say they should bring DS games and they can use the touchscreen. So you're okay with the Switch with the DS app only being playable in handheld? Because that's what's happening there, is that you can only play the DS in handheld if you're going to use this touchscreen aspect, because you can't use the touchscreen while the main screen is up on the TV because you need the system to be in your dock. So like that's my big thing with the DS app, like a DS emulator or DS, on NSO online. I don't know how it functions. I don't know what you would do to make it work outside of you can only play it in handheld mode. When I was playing DS and 3DS more often, I rarely ever used the stylus. It was just one more thing to keep track of while playing. My finger worked better anyways. True for the 3DS games. There were some DS games that you really kind of needed it. Or I think it made it easier. I had an easier time using it for Animal Crossing, the Zelda games. I thought it was easier to use it for that. There's another game, Castlevania, Dawn of Sorrow, where you would draw the symbols to seal the monsters. I always thought that was much easier with the stylus. The way Pokemon Cafe does it, it screams at you to remove it from the dock, and it can only be played in handheld. So it's already, so that's already but that's one. Pokemon Cafe is free, right? Like Pokemon Cafe, fundamentally, Pokemon Cafe isn't nearly as significant as the DS app with all of the DS games on it. So I would argue that they can get away with it because it's a very small niche kind of thing. Fun fact, touchscreen digitizer of the Switch includes the bezel. Hang on. I'm expecting it to cost $400. The Switch, the Switch too, I'm expecting it to be $400. Off topic, but the wind is blowing hard here. I see someone chasing their garbage can down the street. I hate that. I lost a garbage can a couple weeks ago. I went out to get my trash, and it was really windy, and I think it was a little bit of a storm. I'm missing a trash can now, and I checked the neighbors, and nobody has it on their houses, and it was all like busted up in the bottom anyway. I'm wondering if it got hit or something, and the garbage men throw it out. I think they need to include some kind of wireless video streaming. See, yeah, and Mr. L, at that point, you're talking about so much stuff that people are just going to complain. Because then you know what's going to happen, Mr. L? Oh, in order for me to play the free DS app, I have to go and buy a $50 part. And I have to include all of this crazy setup. That's what'll happen. And they'll be right. I think they'll be right to say that. DS 3DS has resistive touchscreen. You actually have to push. What bad thing? Wait. What bad thing do this time? The mad piece that made PC gamers mad. Made PC gamers mad. I'd rather they put GameCube games. Yeah. Ryan, I 100% agree with you. Yeah, just put GameCube games on there. And you know what? Start with Thousand Year Door. Just to drive the rage. Give it 6 months. Give it a year, right? Let's get past Christmas and then give us the GameCube app, and the first game on there is Thousand Year Door. Depends on the game. Some require the stylus as the only method. The judge's reasoning is that you can't use your kids to get EA. They would set a dangerous precedent to encourage loopholing agreements via children. But to earlier, it's funny how quick everyone was to be like, look at Nintendo stalking to dismiss a legit case. Yeah, I mean, it's bizarre. You know what I mean? And that just comes down to Nintendo's always the villain. I went through how playing the Castlevania games using the stylus. It was this Dawn of Sorrow was the only one that I had a problem with. It's not, but it's a thing. So the function is no. Well, I mean, it's known, right? Lilac. I would say it exists. I don't know how much it's known. But yeah, like there's a precedent for it, but I don't think that the precedent is nearly as much as an entire app of with an entire library of games that people really want. What if they implement a touchscreen into the controller? Again, now because now you're locking, and this is sort of what I said earlier. Now you're locking the app behind a paywall. Now you are getting into a situation where look at this great app with all these free games, but they're not free because you have to go and buy the gamepad controller. Is effectively what would happen. Is that you'd have to go and buy the gamepad controller. Why won't Nintendo think of the children? I still don't think GameCube is coming. They remastered so many of those. I mean, GameCube is the games themselves line up well for remakes and remasters. So I wonder if they would do an app. But I think an app later on down the line would be perfect. I think they'd be fine to do that. You know what? How about this? What do you think of this as a compromise? How about the GameCube app is a day one release for the Switch 2? Right? Switch 2, expansion pass. You got a bunch of people buying the system. They are, if they're new to the system, they're getting NSO accounts. If they already have a system, they're transferring their NSO accounts to the new system. Maybe some of them don't have the expansion pass. So if you have the expansion pass, Switch 2. More, she said, people want to use to master perception, so they see a case like this. It uses stuff as they see bad guys. I mean, the McDonald's coffee lady, all of that stuff. They want a reason to call everybody else stupid. I'm sure there are laws. The kids can't enter contracts, and yes, parents are the purchasers. The system is being sold with the kids owning it, and thus while not paying it falls. See, but that's not true. That's not true, Lilac, because I would argue that. Unless you can prove that the child went to the store with their own money and bought that system on their own, that the argument's always going to be there that the parents paid for the system. They bought it for their child, but they did buy it. So I would say that the burden of proof would be heavy on you to prove that your child took their own money, went to the store on their own, and spent it how they wanted to. In which case, now that's a weird sort of precedent because it's kind of all over the place. That's legal stuff. I pretend I know what the hell I'm talking about, and then I don't, which is kind of everything. If the Switch successor comes with a controller with a touchpad like the PlayStation ones, I can see DS NSO working. There's still more N64 games that need to be added. Doesn't Nintendo already do something like that by requiring you to get a dumbass online game membership to buy the N64? Yeah, you have to be a part of their service in order to be eligible to buy the controllers, I think. All of the extra controllers. Which is kind of weird. I do think it's kind of weird. You know what though, Blaze? I'll be honest with you. And obviously, hackers and scalpers are going to figure out a way around it anyway. But I kind of like that because I do think that helps curb people going on. Because if you have to buy it through Nintendo and you have to have an account to do it, they do have the ability to shut down people buying 70 of them. And again, I know the hackers are going to figure out a way around that somehow, but I mean, quantities were also very low for those controllers all the time, right? I think when the Nintendo ones came out, they were out of stock for a long while. The Super Nintendo ones, I think, were like in and out of stock. And the N64 ones, I think, went out of stock and then they were like popped back up later. So yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that. And again, you know, it's a $20 thing. If I'm pissed off about anything, it's the fact that the NES Tournament Edition game in Japan comes with the controllers. And we got a cool looking cartridge, but I'd rather have a controller. I don't have one of those, right? Do I not have one of those? I didn't buy the NES one. I bought the Super Nintendo one. Online stores already have a way to limit purchases per customer. Yes, but then you can, but the scalpers will make 100 accounts because you can make an account for free. Whereas Nintendo, you'd need to pay $20 per account in order to open up a bunch of accounts and buy a bunch of controllers. That's the problem, is that people, you know, if you need an account if you need an email address or whatever and they limit how many you buy from Best Buy, scalpers will they have multiple accounts and they just buy a whole bunch of them. Whereas Nintendo can actually curb that straight up and say, yeah, you're going to, each one, in order to be able to order each one of these, you need to pay $20. And that's kind of what it is. About the SNES and the N64 ones. I should get the N64 one just because, I mean, the problem is I don't really play a ton of N64 games. Like I'll pop them in as a sort of novelty, but I've said before, I don't have a lot of nostalgia for the N64. So there isn't really a desire, but the controller itself and the control scheme of games is unique enough that I think that it's beneficial to have the controller. The Genesis one I wanted, but the 6-button controller is in Japan, and I only want the 6-button controller. If a store sees that 300 controllers are going to the same house, that should raise some alarm bells, and yet it doesn't. That's the concern, is that it doesn't. Not to mention, you know, 300 is obviously a bit excessive, but 10 of them from this Best Buy and 10 of them from another Best Buy and 10 of them from Walmart and 10 of them from Target. And you know, you do that enough and you've got, you know, and 20 of them from Amazon. Even if, they probably don't care about 300 sales because it's still 300 sales. But even if they did care, that's the whole problem with bots, is that they can do it from anywhere. I don't see why increasing the price by $20 would stop scalpers. They would just resell it for even higher to make up the difference. Per controller, though? That's why. Remember, it's per controller. If they were to limit you to only one, I think they limit you to two, actually. Plus, there's the hassle of actually doing it. Do you have to actually... That's why it's easy to just say that they'll shell out another $20 in order to be able to buy the controller. But, first of all, it's an investment. Because if they shell out if they shell out an extra $20 for the controller and those controllers are readily available and they're not able to sell them for any more money, they have now wasted their money. So right off the bat, it's kind of a risk right there. But then there's the hassle of actually doing it. You know, you have to sit there and you have to make fake accounts in order to do that. You can't just add an email. You have to like process it and use your credit card. And even then, I feel like if you can use the same exact credit card over and over again, something somewhere is going to get flagged. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like it's not a question of whether or not they can or can't. I think it's a question of you would have to jump through so many hoops to do it. It's not worth it to do. You know, sure, if it takes 10 minutes to do each one of them and you want to do 50 of them, that's fine. You can do it. But are you really going to want to spend 500 minutes making accounts, paying for them, and then hoping you make an investment on your return? Because if you can't sell those controllers, you're stuck with them. I'm going back up. The N64 is a weird system. It really it hits really hit hard. But if you're not one of those hits, you're pretty blessed. Oh, it's hits really hit. But if you're not one of those hits, you're pretty blessed. Yeah, I mean that's an N64 discussion for another time. But I my biggest issue with the N64 was that for the games that I played, the games that I did enjoy for that system were mostly, I enjoyed the multiplayer aspect of the game. I enjoyed playing GoldenEye with my friends. There was another game that I played. Like, I played Body Harvest for a little bit, but that wasn't really a multiplayer thing, but I also didn't play that a whole lot. Like, there were a handful of games that I played, and it was mostly just, this is kind of fun multiplayer. And single player, it's okay. I'm trying to think of, like, what games did I legitimately play all the way through that weren't just multiplayer experiences? And I can't really think of any. Mischief Makers, I think. I'm pretty sure I beat Mischief Makers. Hold on, let me go back up here. I'm getting away from the let me go back. It's the whole controller thing. It's not a lot of people bought the NES controller because its use is so limited. It doesn't work with most games. So it sat in stock for years, even Japan. But now they're bundling it. Everyone's like, and now, well, no. I wanted it. To be fair, I wanted it before. I think I think the problem, Dragoon, like with the controllers, is it wasn't worth $60. One of the reasons I avoided the controllers initially was because there was two of them. And I would have bought one for $30, no problem. I had no interest in buying two for $60. It was such a weird thing because then the Super Nintendo ones, they sold single. And I bought one of those. I love that controller. It's a great controller. I kind of wish I could use it on PC, but I don't think it works on PC. That's the kind of stuff parents tried to argue and the judge kept telling them, you can't sue on that point. The law has already established that. I don't see why increasing the price by 20. Oh, yeah, we read that. Hold on, I'm going ahead here. Going ahead. Yeah, where's Uniracers? Executor, agreed. Where's Uniracers? Yeah, all those hoops are still something to automate. You think so? You think that it's easy to automate those? I mean, I'm sure you would know better than I would, but... Yeah, the extra hassle seems like a drop in the bucket. I don't know. I question whether or not it's worth it. And again, I think that's the other issue is that the Zelda games. I beat the Zelda games. I think that's the other issue with the whole scalping like controllers thing is that you're not scalping PS5. If this was your opportunity to make a $20 account, buy a PS5 at the height of the PS5 craze, and then sell that PS5 for double the price. Yes, okay, it's worth it to make $20 per system so that you could sell one. But the controllers were selling from the store for $60. So scalpers were probably selling them for $100, $120. Let's say double, $120. So you'd make a decent profit to an extent if you were doing it in mass, assuming, of course, that you were able to sell all of the controllers. Because then the second you don't sell one of them, look at how much money you're kind of wasting. You wanted it, but you weren't willing to buy it, which is what a lot of people said. I won't buy that, but I'd use it if I had. But that's the thing, Dragoon. I was willing to buy it. I just wasn't willing to buy it the way they sold it. And I question whether or not they understood that because notice for the Super Nintendo controllers and for any controller after, they sold single. That's why I wonder if selling the NES controllers double kind of is what they figured. People said, yeah, I don't really want to pay for that. I forget how much the Super Nintendo one was, but I bought it quickly. Once I saw that it was just a single controller, I was like, yeah, absolutely, I want that. Yeah, that was my only issue. It wasn't even about, like not wanting to pay the price or anything. It was about not wanting to pay the price for two controllers when I don't need two of them. Oh yeah, Paper Mario. Yeah, Paper Mario. What? Like I can't think of what games I would have beaten. The two. One Zelda game. One Zelda game. Paper Mario. None of the Banjo games. everything else that I might have played was like a multiplayer game. Now, people automated scalping stuff from Best Buy sales that are exclusive to the $180 bet. Oh, really? I don't know anything about Best Buy's like subscription service or anything. I remember people scalped the NES Classic. Nintendo restocked and scalpers panicked. So then the SNES Classic, they tried to scalp those. Nintendo restocked them and they panicked again. It happens. There's people that were. I think there was a story about people that were sitting on PS5s. There's a case that sold the NES controllers in singles, but they didn't find interest even for that. I believe they talked about it. I would need to see where they talked, because they never sold them. It's not like we had reports of, well, we're thinking about selling them single, but we're going to sell them double. They sold them double and then never. My issue with them is that they never went back and they never said, all right, we're going to sell them single. If tomorrow they say $30 and you can buy a single NES controller, I would, money wise, right? I have to, if I've got the $30 to spare, I would buy one. I would have no problem buying one for $30. I think I have the Super Nintendo controller. It's here somewhere. I have the Super Nintendo controller. They're fantastic controllers. They're one-to-one recreations of the original controllers, and they feel fantastic. The buttons are a little bit stiff, but they're also a new controller. They're wireless. The battery lasts a long time. Like, everything about this controller is fantastic. I would absolutely buy one of these for the NES. I would have bought the Genesis one, but the Genesis one in the US is only the 3-button controller, which I don't really like. And N64, I just have no nostalgia for the N64. I thought that they should have added a and here's something that you can do. You guys mentioned a controller with a screen on it. I wouldn't mind a controller that is shaped like one of the Game Boys, and it has a touch screen on it. And I can use the touch screen for DS games, or I can just use it as a blank screen controller for Game Boy games on the app. Because you got Game Boy, I would say make it like a Game Boy SP. I'd buy a $50, effectively it's a controller. I'd buy a $50 controller with a screen that does that. That'd be kind of cool. Yeah, AGM, isn't that wild? I would like a Nintendo Switch Portal. And not even a Portal. I don't want to play the games on the thing unless it's the DS stuff. I don't want to transfer my Game Boy games to the screen. Although I feel like that's a feature you could add, but I don't need to do that. Give me something. Yeah, give me. I guess that would work that way. Give me a Nintendo Switch Portal. $50. Again, the Portal wasn't really a bad idea. It was almost a great idea, but it wasn't really a terrible idea. The problem, it's a half-assed idea for $200. If the Portal was $100, I think a lot more people would have bought it. I think it would have been a much more compelling device if it was $100 and it felt like a controller. There's Pokemon Puzzle League on N64 NSO. That's Tetris Attack. I don't know. Game & Watch Portal. I think that would look better. It sounds a lot like work for a controller for a retro service that very few people use. Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, Marcos. But so is some of the other controllers. Right, so is the N64 controller, so is the Genesis 3-button controller. I don't hear anybody talk about the Genesis. Can I be honest with you? When it comes to the NSO apps, I don't hear anybody talk about the Genesis one. I never hear any real craze about which games aren't there. I never hear any giant buzz when they, in the rare moments when they do add games. I just don't hear anybody talk about it. And yet, they went through the trouble of making a controller. 2 of them. Because Japan did get the 6-button controller. Didn't the Portal sell out everywhere? I think it did, but a lot of places I saw got one. Right? Right? Is it a, oh my God, the PlayStation Portal sold out? Is that really applicable when every store got one? Oh my God, where's the NES Advantage for the Switch? I'll take it. Yeah, like people didn't really get them at all, or they got one of them. Even the PS Online store. But do we have the numbers on that? Again, here we go with the numbers again. I know that people can't stand numbers, but again, it does kind of alter the discussion of they sold out of them when you find out that they only made 20,000 of them or something, or some crazy low number. So it is an interesting, there is a discussion there to have about numbers. You know, you can't make one thing, sell it, and then say, oh my God, it's so popular, it's sold out everywhere. It doesn't work that way. So, never mind. Sony said it exceeded expectations. Oh God, this is getting terrible. Nintendo fans rarely, if ever, venture out past Nintendo retro system. But a portal, like a Nintendo portal, like a Switch portal, I think people would venture for that, especially if it has a touchscreen that allows them to play like DS games. Need that thing Nintendo had where you use your feet to press the buttons. The power pad. Oh man, the power pad. I got the Genesis controller and it's nice, but it does feel like a lesser controller versus the N64, which feels amazing. Sony's refused to share PS Portal numbers, and when actively asked, they said they don't talk about then. They won't talk about them. Then, Mortal Kombat 1 is Omni-Man and Homelander's DLC. Think I'll pass. It's a shame because Omni-Man is a great addition. I'm technically selling out since I moved here, but we have limited supply. Yeah, I don't. I'm more referring to why the Genesis doesn't get as. Oh, you're referring to why the Genesis doesn't get as much fanfare. Yeah, I don't know. It's a shame. Yeah, you're right though. That's what you're saying about venturing out past Nintendo retro systems. Yeah, I mean Genesis. A lot of people did say like, "What's on the Genesis?" because they didn't really play it. Because that is, and it's a shame, Marcos, because I've said before that I think a TurboGrafx app would be amazing on the Switch. I would love to see TurboGrafx get its own app. He left. That's exactly what Sony does. It's selling better than expected. How's it doing? None of your business. They sold the NES controllers as Joy-Con alternatives. That's why they came in. Oh, that's right. They did do that. Yeah, because the NES ones. Oh, you're right about that, AGM. I forgot about that. Don't the NES controllers have the rail on them? Don't they have the rail for you to attach it to your system? I completely forgot about that. Or maybe Omni-Man Homelander is the guy that created his comic Ken Kick Rocks. Yeah, the NES. Yeah, okay, that's why they sold them as pairs. I completely forgot about that. Yeah. As do the Famicom ones have it too? Yeah, come on, man. Give me those. That's right, because there were pictures of people with their Switches and then both NES controllers, which is awesome, by the way. That just sounds incredible to have that. That's right. I completely forgot that they have rails on them. All right. So hold on. Let's pretend to talk about some of these other topics here. So, there's two real deal. Give me a second here. So okay, so this first thing I want to talk about is I thought this was kind of funny. This Minecraft thing that they showed. So Microsoft, no games today. I don't think so. We'll see what happens. We'll see how long we go with some of these other topics. Like a lot of that was just sort of unscripted, but we'll see. We'll see how we go here. Possibly. I might. There's no game. It's Sentinel. There's no game really scheduled for today because we're gonna be off tomorrow, and then Thursday is gonna be Paper Mario the entire weekend. After the weekend, after Memorial Day weekend, and after we're done with Paper Mario, it's going to be Sonic Adventure 2, the Dark Story. So, like, that's already planned. We already know that we're doing that. But I can't really commit to anything today just because Thursday is immediately we're going to be doing something else. The Dark Story. Couldn't be worse. You could spend 60+ shipping for the Nintendo World Championship Deluxe Edition for Famicom controllers and superior box art. Nope, couldn't be me. Marcos, I almost did it, to be honest with you, and I still could too. That's what's crazy is that technically I could cancel my Best Buy pre-order and then order the other one because it's not like I need that game day one. I do kind of want to do that. But I don't know. The cartridge does kind of look cool, even though it doesn't do anything. I really wish that the cartridge, the tournament cartridge that it comes with, I wish it opened up and that it was a game case. So this Microsoft thing. By the way, I think that this story kind of goes in a couple different directions. Here, I'm gonna share with you this. Copy. Okay. Speaking of overspending on controllers, I was getting the North. Oh, you're also getting the North American one. I'm really considering picking up leverless controller for fighting games. I don't know what those are. So this is the Microsoft thing. This is supposed to be. They're calling it Copilot, and it uses one of those Chat GPT things, which is it's basically going to simulate a controller. Oh, you know those flight sticks. Yeah, I don't trust anything that uses AI at this juncture. Not only does it not work right, it runs on stealing from. Well, this isn't generative AI. I don't think that this is considered generative AI. This is assistance AI. This is the AI that is gonna try and tell you how to navigate the game. Obviously, there are a few different points here that are kind of interesting. They added a new game to the Game Boy. You're gonna look at those for a bit. We could look at those. Yeah, if we do, I'll check out like Mario Land and stuff. I already checked them out, but we'll check them out online. Yeah, it's not generative AI. It's just it's Alexa or Cortana built into your gaming structure, which I'm not sure. There's a lot of questions here. Basically, Microsoft doing everything in their power to not make a tutorial world for Minecraft. So, okay, yeah, just tell me how to delete. Well, I don't think you delete it. I think at this point you would have to download it. I'm trying to figure out exactly where to tackle this discussion. Where to start, anyway. So, the way this works, in this video that I linked to you, it kind of functions in that way. It kind of functions as an instruction booklet, which is going to be, it's going to help you get through the game. So, which, we are gamers. Not everybody is. I do think that there is a point where you're going to get diminishing returns on making games more accessible, right? We talk about how we don't need some of these things because we are gamers and we know how to do a lot of these things. We don't need a game to tell me, oh no, that's a monster, run away. We don't need a game to tell me you need these materials, but you only have these materials, so you need to find some of this. We don't need that kind of stuff. Some people do. Some people need the help. My problem is, at a certain point, do you make it so easy that no one's going to bother playing it? It's one thing to want to engage in a video game and have something help you along the way. It's another thing to have the game basically start to play itself for you. Because at that point, is anybody who needs that kind of assistance, are they going to stick around? Are they going to find anything compelling about their experience enough to stay and keep playing video games? And I start to question whether or not that is an issue. I start to question whether or not people are going to say, yeah, this is a lot. Like, it's, and again, I say this as a gamer. I say this as somebody who is familiar with a lot of this stuff. It's hard for me to imagine a situation where somebody from outside of gaming attempts to play a game, has the game do this much for you, and then that person says, yes, that was enjoyable, I'm going to continue on, and I'm going to play more video games. I feel like they're not challenged enough for them to want to do it. And I question whether or not that's going to hurt people entering a video game for the first time, or entering video games for the first time. Because that's who I feel like this is for. I feel like this is for people who are entering gaming for the first time. And they're the people that are going to try this, and they're the people that are going to have their hand held so much that they don't understand the point in playing the game. They're not going to get anything out of it. They're not going to get what you should be getting out of a video game that makes you want to keep playing more. There's a reason we play video games that piss us off. And it's because we're challenged, not the game is challenging us. And we want to rise to that challenge. But if the game's not challenging to us in any way whatsoever, a lot of people just don't want to engage in it. They also don't want to be challenged. I'm going to go back and read some comments. They also don't want to be challenged. This is more accessible. People will get stuck, get lost. People will tell them this is just challenging you and just quit. It'll likely be, and Lilac, it'll likely be optional, but for somebody that is new to game, first of all, we're assuming that it's going to be optional, and it's going to be something that you have to turn on and not turn off. But this feels like a sort of thing that people who are new to gaming are just going to turn it on. They're going to turn it on because they're going to use it to try and understand the game because they don't know anything about video games. But I question whether or not it's going to make it too hand-holdy and they're not going to want to play the game anymore. How many games have you guys ever tried that are through emulators or a free service or any sort of thing? And because of that, it's difficult for you, and I know that's a technically different thing, but you'll understand what I mean in a second. It's difficult for you to dedicate yourself to a game, to attach yourself to a game in a meaningful way, because there's nothing there locking you into the experience. Yeah, I remember how back in the day, Doom was shareware for episode 1 and just get people hooked. Yeah, so, I mean, back then, it definitely works. My question, and it still works now, right? That's the whole purpose of live service games, is that you give them the game for free and they engage in it more. It's sort of a different discussion. My point, the point that I was getting to, though, was if you don't find it engaging in the right way, you might not engage in it any further. And I wonder if one of the ways that you should engage in it, if you bought a game, you're going to give it more of a try than a free game. If you start a game and the game immediately starts telling you everything to do, and it sounds like it's bossing you around, some people won't want to engage in it. How annoyed did we get? How annoyed did I get that Freya, especially, wouldn't give me the chance to solve the puzzles? We would start the fight, and then immediately aim for the could you let me figure that out first? Give me like a minute or two of failing before you just immediately start telling me what to do. It disconnects me from the game in order for me to do that. Obviously, it's going to be different for everybody. Some people need that. Some people will just want that. My question is, and again, for the love of God, because I know it happens all the time, I am not saying it is 100% going to happen. I am asking the question, might that happen, that people will experience this and it will not give them the ability to attach to the game, to the experience. I'm not saying it's going to absolutely be a negative, but I do question whether or not some people will say, yeah, I tried to play that game and it just kept telling me everything to do, so it wasn't interesting. Take any video game. Take any game that you want to play now. Go and play your new game. Paper Mario 1,000 Year Door comes out in a couple of days. Hellblade came out, I think, today. X-Defiant came out today. What if that game had a running commentary that was telling you every single thing to do in the game? Would that make you want to play it more or less? And again, it's a bit different for us because we're gamers and we have the knowledge base to want to engage in that. But for a new player, how often do you want the game to give you hints and stuff? Because again, watch this video. This video that I linked. Here, I'll link it again. Yeah, if it's a hint system I can turn off, okay. But watch this video. Imagine this is what's happening. Imagine you just bought your game and this is what's happening. It's like, can I figure something out? To be more put off by extra help or more added by the increased accessibility. Will more be more put off by the extra help. No, I think it's sort of Dragoon. I think the better question is, will the inclusion of this alter the experience so much that people won't enjoy it? And yes, as an accessibility thing, it's going to benefit some people a lot. But my question is whether or not there will be a lot of people who don't get into gaming because they tried gaming and this is what was there. And it just kept talking to them. And again, if it's a hint system that pops up on the screen, that's totally fine. But this video is not a hint system. This video is a running commentary telling you everything to do. Not to mention, you start to get this uncanny valley effect where it sounds like it's trying to be your buddy. Right? When you listen to this video, it's like it sounds more like it's trying to be your friend. And it's like, I don't know. I'm still at a point where I find that kind of weird. That's the dystopian extreme of make it mainstream. Everyone should get into it. Having options is accessibility. You get to the point where the option. Yeah, I mean, you're right, because that is a question where it's like, oh, more accessibility is better. It's like, okay, that's great. More accessibility is better. More people should be allowed to experience it. But at what point are you fundamentally altering the experience to the point where it's just not the same thing? More people, if you want more people to get into knitting, right? Knitting. You want more people to get into knitting. So you build a machine where you drop in bundles of yarn and the machine does everything else. The machine sorts the yarn, puts it on the spools, spins it out, knits it together. You push a button and it says you got a scarf. And an hour later, you get a scarf. Are you knitting? Have you now gotten into knitting? Is that a thing that you do? Do you tell everybody, oh yeah, I love to knit. I've got a machine that does it all for me. Is it the same experience? If I tell people that I want to play video games and I want to get something out of video games because it looks like an interesting hobby and I feel like there's value to it, and I buy a machine that plays the video game for me, is that the same experience? Do you think that people are going to have value in that? I mean, don't we complain daily about shortened attention spans and the fact that people don't want to put work into something and they don't want to learn something. They don't want to learn a hobby. They don't want to learn a craft. They don't want to watch a video that's longer than 30 seconds. We say this all the time. And then we add a function to what is supposed to be an interactive media, and we figured out a way to scale back the interaction as much as possible. At what point is that media not the same thing anymore? It's a weird sort of back and forth with this. Like, it's great, it's accessibility, but at what point are you just removing the person from the thing entirely? Because you know what this is the first step to. Oh, I can't figure out how to do this, and then the game starts telling you to do it. And the game shows you how to do it, and the game puts little icons on the screen, and then eventually there's a button and the game just does it for you. And you might say, no, but how many thousands of times over the past 20, 30 years have we said no, and a week later, it's yes? We already have machines that play the game for us. They're called content creators. Okay. Well, then pay your machines, damn it. Heavy Rain. People used to sew by hand, then sewing machines. Now we automate a lot of the process even more. Now knitting is a hobby. I'm fine with accessibility in terms of giving the access to something like controllers that allow people to play with one hand. Accessibility controllers, absolutely. But I'm not interested in having it dumbed down to the point where now I'm being talked to like a 5-year-old, and it literally is. That's already a thing in a lot of games. PS5 has systems that both give you hints and videos on how to complete puzzles and difficult fights, but it doesn't do it itself. It gives you videos and hints, but it doesn't do it itself. This might. It could eventually get to that. At what point is it too late? You know, at what point do you say, all right, well, that was too much? So yeah, I don't know. I don't necessarily know if this is too much, but it's getting dangerously close. It's getting really close to it. I think too much help isn't good. We also wasn't and praise games for increased accessibility. What's the point of a tutorial? But it usually just tells you to click here or do that. Yeah, it doesn't click it for you. Okay, I thought that's what that was. And the video doesn't show it doing it itself either. It reacting to the player, looking at a zombie and asking, "What is that?" And like that's my point. Is that sure it's not doing it yet, but you know that's the next step. You know that's gonna be a thing that happens. And are we allowed to point it out then? Like if I sit here and I say I don't like what this might do to gaming, and people say no, but it's fine. People still have to play the game. When it does include a button that lets you complete a certain task, is that when I'm allowed to say something? Right? Is that when everybody's allowed to say that's not good? I do question this. And again, my initial point was more just you're fundamentally changing the experience. It's not knitting anymore. If I went to the store and I bought some yarn, I didn't go to the store, actually. I ordered it off of Amazon. And I loaded up the knitting machine and I pushed scarf and I got a scarf. You would not realistically be able to tell people that you are a knitter. I'm very careful with that word. That was a bad word. You can't. It doesn't work. You know, so it changes the experience. I think it is good, though. It's an option to get straight to what you would just Google anyway. But again, it changed. I don't know. I feel like it alters the experience. And I wonder if that's going to have a bad impact. I wonder if that is going to impact people entering the gaming space. Listen. Here's the reality of it. Hold on, let me read some of this. Again, accessibility should never be answered more than can you physically do this? Once again, this inevitably becomes a case where instead of creating something, we're forcing people into the game. Makers make games too easy. It'll kill the fun of open world games, or checkpoints and saves anywhere make the game easy. It removes the risk and challenge from the game. Both actual points people made to things made to make the game more accessible, easier, and more open to people. This, I'm sure, be a thing that on startup, like what difficulty do you want to play on? Will either be a second screen or do you want hint assist on? I in a lot like that's making assumptions about it, which again I'm doing also. But I do worry about it. I do worry about the idea of that and how it affects gaming. Because this is what I was going to say. To be fair, if I use a sewing machine to sew, am I sewing? You're still doing it. The sewing machine makes it easier. The sewing machine makes it possible for you to do something more complicated. But you're still sewing. Now, if it's a machine where I put fabric in and I push a button and then I walk away from it, that's different. Then I would argue that you're not sewing because it's a hobby. You're sewing because you have another hobby, right? If I have because there are sewing machines that do that. There are like embroidery patterns and stuff. There are sewing machines where you load it up a certain way and it'll do like the embroidery pattern on you on whatever the cloth is. But I'm not doing that because I am a fan of sewing. I'm doing that because I am a fan of cosplay, and I'm using it as a tool to achieve something else. But that is not the goal. In this, playing video games is the goal. It's the thing you're supposed to be trying to do. It's why you're playing video games. You're playing video games because you want to play video games. So there's got to be a point. And again, we can disagree about whether or not this is the point, but there has to come to a point where you have to look at it and say, are you even playing video games anymore? If you're buying the video game and you're turning on the assistant and the assistant is telling you like a 5-year-old everything that you need to look out for and everything that you need to do, and then it adds, well, we can complete this section for you. And again, I'm jumping a little bit ahead there. But that's kind of my point, is that let's say it doesn't do that and it does everything else. The experience itself is fundamentally different. So then, is it the same experience for people coming into the hobby? And what happens when it goes further than that? What happens when it does start to include a we can complete this section for you option? Because then you get back to where you were, like you said, with the save points and with the difficulty functions and there was a discussion. There's always a discussion about whether or not difficulty settings are accessibility settings. You get this discussion where people say, "Oh, well, if it's there, I might as well use it." You want a machine or AI to be a tool, not the replacement. Yeah, you don't want a tool to replace you playing the video game. This is just a hammer. Was it? That there is a hammer Joe. He'll swing his mighty hammer. Wait, I don't need you. If the AI completes games for you, you might as well just watch a YouTube video and pay $70. And again, we're jumping the gun there with the whole the game's going to complete itself for you. But do you think that that's seeing this? Do you think that that's not a reasonable next step that they're going to try and complete? It feels kind of obvious that they would do that. My worry is that it could fall into the only reward, no punishment, no learning from your mistakes, which again is why people and GG, that's part of what I mean by it's fundamentally a different experience. There's no challenge. There's nothing for you to get over. There's nothing for you to overcome because the game's going to overcome it for you. It's like, I don't know. I don't know if that's the greatest idea. The other thing about this, like I said, there was another direction that I wanted to come at from this. This is through Microsoft, right? Yeah, there's no sense of success or accomplishment. You know, people talk about losers that play video games all day because they want to feel a sense of accomplishment. So you do get a sense of accomplishment from completing a difficult task in a video game, but you're taking all of that away. Potentially, or at this point, you're just diminishing it. You're potentially diminishing it. No one could argue the goal is having fun and not playing video games. They can lead to fun. Save points are needed, not because so you don't binge your playthrough in one swing. Difficulty helps entry points. I don't think those are good examples. No, AGM, not save points, but checkpoints. Checkpoints at multiple times. Checkpoints in the middle of boss fights, for instance. I've heard people complain about that with stuff like God of War, and we just finished Final Fantasy 16. We lost to one of the bosses, and it started us at the half health point. Checkpoints, I've heard people say that. It makes certain things too easy. That's why you have the Souls games, the Soulsborne sort of format where there's no checkpoint in between save points. That's why people consider that a more difficult challenge. That's what we say to justify it, when in reality games are like any hobby. It's designed to kill time. I see a lot. Like I have heard people say that. I have, and again, you're not as old as me, but you're older. I don't know what it's like in the UK, but when growing up, when I was a kid, and I wanted to play video games, those were the kinds of things that I heard. That you can't just sit there and play video games. You have to go and do something successful. You have to go and do something better. People talk about like the incel culture, right? And they talk about how they sit there and they play video games all day. And that's what they say, is that they play video games because they want a sense of accomplishment, because they feel like they're losing at life. And they need to win at something. And yeah, I would disagree that nobody says that, because I've 100% heard people say that in multiple venues. And yes, I have had people say that to me. Say things like that to me. My mom still thinks that. Kill for a bonfire right now, right before a boss. Not save points, but save any. Yeah, save anywhere. Checkpoints, like too many checkpoints. Like, yeah, people have complained about that stuff. To be fair, if video games are the only thing telling people, good job, you did it, then you have a bigger social problem that needs to reform. Ryan, we do that. It's just, we do have bigger social problems, and that does need to be reformed. But until that's reformed, there are a lot of people out there that are not hearing enough. And again, I'm not going to spin off into this discussion, but there are a lot of people out there that are not hearing enough words of encouragement, and they're not finding the sense of accomplishment that you need to find in your life. And yes, some of it is because they're not doing enough work, but some of it is because it doesn't feel like you can succeed. And again, that's a very different discussion. That's not something that we typically talk about here. But there is a lot of that going on in society right now, where things are so difficult. It costs so much money to do things. It's such a challenge to interact with people. Everything feels like a struggle, so people are just pulling out of trying to engage. And part of that is because every time you turn around, someone or something somewhere is telling you you are failing. And most of the time they're doing it because they're trying to sell you something. Right? And we've seen this. We've seen this across the board. Women have been hearing that they are not beautiful enough for decades, so that they can be sold makeup and handbags and new clothes. Guys are being told that women don't want you because your car isn't good enough, because your clothes aren't good enough, because you're not strong enough, because you don't smell good enough. Your hair doesn't look good. Your balls are hairy, right? Every Manscaped commercial, every beer commercial that has ever told you that women will want you if you drink the right beer. Our society is built to make you feel like shit so that you will buy their shit. That's how it works. That's how it works. And a lot of people, they don't engage in the buying. They don't engage in the capitalism structure of it all. They just withdraw because they feel like they can't win. They are made to feel like it's on purpose. They're made to feel like they can't win. So they find other places where they can win. They go and they buy the beer, or they buy the clothes, or they buy the Manscaped, or they get the makeup, or they do whatever it is that they have to do. And then maybe it works and maybe it doesn't. And if they try it and it doesn't, they go somewhere else to find that sense of achievement and that sense of success. And where do they sometimes find it? And this is why I say, as much as I love video games, you cannot do this all the time. You should not fill your life 100% with video games. But that's what people do, is that they come to video games and they find a sense of accomplishment. They put on that game and they level up, and there's a glowing light, and the carrot moves just a little bit further away, and they feel like they're making progress. That's how it works. But so when you remove that sense of accomplishment, the thing fails. And sure, in this use case, you could argue that, well, maybe video games need to fail. Maybe some people need to step away from video games. And I agree. They absolutely do. But for those of us that play it responsibly, but for those of us that enjoy this hobby and have enjoyed this hobby for a long time and would like to enjoy this hobby, it kills the hobby when you start to set it up on a path where there's no sense of accomplishment anymore. It does kind of harm that. The device in the ancient modern... Oh, you guys talking about... That's how toilet paper became popular. Anyway, stop using toilet paper. Buy a bidet. Absolutely. I 100% agree. No, Blaze, I have to disagree. Big toilet paper pays me a lot of money to disagree with you. Just saying, no, I'm not going to try to keep up with the Joneses. They're a-holes anyway. And Sentinel. And that's what a lot of people do, is that I'm not going to bother keeping up with the Joneses. The problem is, now there's no sense of accomplishment in your life. You're not winning at anything. You know, not everybody. Not you specifically, and not everybody. Some people find that winning. They find success in that. They are able to build a good life for themselves by saying, I don't really care what anybody. One of the things, and I think I've said this before, one of the things about my personal life is that I don't typically care what people think about me. I think I'm a decent person. I think for the most part, I'm not an a-hole. I can be what I need to be. I don't really care how people view me as far as the way I dress, the way I act. I keep my hygiene clean, right? I don't go out and smell. But for the most part, as far as me personally, I don't really care what people think. The problem is I don't care so much that I don't try. I don't advance myself any further. I don't try to go out there and succeed. I have no interest in grinding to make money so that I can have nice car, nice clothes. I don't really care about any of that. But there has to be some level of caring. There has to be some level of growth in order for you to advance forward in your life. There does. And realizing that, I think, is important. I think it's important to understand that, sure, you don't particularly care about the impression that other people have of you, but you do have to advance yourself in a way that causes you to engage more. You have to engage more. And otherwise you just end up alone. You end up by yourself, and there's nobody there with you. And when you scream because you succeeded at that video game, there's no one there to cheer with you. There's no one there to give you a back and forth on the things that you like. There's nobody there to share in your personal experiences. You can't, we have online, and we can play video games online, and we have a lot of fun with each other. But you need that personal connection in a different way. That personal connection feels very different. And it's one of the things that's really happening. Yeah, it's going to be one of those heavy stream topics. One of the things that's happening is a lot of people don't realize that. A lot of people, they lose that personal connection. There is a difference. There's a difference between talking to a bunch of people online and sitting in a room with a bunch of people and having a conversation. It is fundamentally different. It is a different experience. And you need that. And I think that that's vital. I think that that's very important. Otherwise, you find it where you can. You find success where you can, and it ends up in hobbies, or it ends up in video games. But with this whole chat thing in the game, it also kind of kills the game. It kills that sense of accomplishment that you would get. Which, again, if all you do is play video games all day for a sense of accomplishment, maybe that's a good thing that something is happening that's causing you to step away from it. But for a lot of us, we don't do that. A lot of us just enjoy the hobby. And we don't want it to die. Sorry, I know that got like kind of super real, and I know that we don't really try and do that, but it happens sometimes. Low overcoming challenge as much as the next guy, but there are tons of games I'll never play because to me the Get Good Nature and Hurdle is so much. I won't. There's no point. I already have to struggle enough. I have to struggle in other things. My video games are escapism. Video games are an opportunity. Yes, I do like the sense of accomplishment I get from beating a video game. I do very much appreciate that. But I also have things in my real life that I feel I have accomplished and I'm happy about. I do look at the fact that I have my job. I do look at the fact that I have a place to live. I do look at the personal relationships that I have, which are not as numerous as they used to be, but I think the ones that I do have still feel like I have value. But there's a lot of people that don't have that. I think about how much more some people have, but I think about the fact that there are people that have a lot less, and they need that sense of achievement from somewhere else. Because, and this is the last thing I'll say on it, because if you look at your entire life and you don't feel like you're succeeding anywhere, what do you think that does to a person? I think a couple answers come to mind, which I won't say, but what do you think it means? What do you think it does to somebody's mind when they look at their entire life from the real things to the hobbies and they say, I'm not winning at any of it? What do you think that does? Don't answer it. I'm just saying. just I'll let you think of your own conclusions beyond that. The other thing that I wanted to, hashtag deep. The other thing that I wanted to bring up with this Minecraft thing, with this ChatGPT thing, this is by Microsoft. We're going to spin this back into a more lighthearted video game discussion. This is done by Microsoft. This is something that I haven't seen anybody say. This is Microsoft Copilot, not Xbox. We've been speculating for a little while that that Microsoft might be trying to kill the Xbox brand and roll their gaming division into Microsoft's whole stock, like they just want to roll the whole thing into there. And the question was why? Could be this. It could be stuff like this. It could be the idea of integrating their technology into video games, which you can't as easily do if Xbox still exists. But if you roll it all into Microsoft gaming and you make all of these features available through your hardware and software from Microsoft directly, it does kind of eliminate Xbox. Yeah, lighthearted. Yeah. Microsoft is paperweighted. I don't think you meant that lighthearted. Dude, Mario Kart Tournament. Marcos, yeah, I saw you commented this earlier. I got some flack from coworkers for not joining the softball team. Oh, but I was all aboard this. My answer has been that my heart is more into this hobby than softball. Absolutely. It would be disingenuous for me to play a game my heart isn't in, and I would let my team and by extension my friends down. Yeah, you know, and it's great, and I'm glad that they're having a Mario Kart tournament because most people just look at video games and they think that they're stupid and they don't want to engage in them. These goddamn tech companies stop shoving AI in there. And yeah, so AI took their jobs. It really does kind of feel that way. It does kind of feel that. We speculated before that Microsoft might be killing the Xbox brand. And the big question for that was, if so, why? Why? What would be the reason to get rid of the Xbox brand? And I figured it was probably like optics. You know, Xbox has always been sort of... Xbox has never been higher than... Well, no, I guess for the the only time Xbox was number one was because of the 360, and that was because the PS3 failed. That was because I said before with that generation, I don't think the 360 won. I think PS3 lost. Other than that, they've always been second place, and now they're a distant. I mean, I'm hesitant to even call them third, fourth after PC gaming. I feel like more people. I feel like you'd get people more easily engaged in PC gaming than Xbox. So I always kind of figured it was an optics thing. But realistically, it might be this. It might be that the plan is to eventually roll all of these features into their gaming sector. And that's probably more difficult to do because Xbox game development would be separate from Microsoft development. But now they're not. If you were able to kill Xbox and roll any game development into Microsoft, the development teams are not separate. Everything is all integrated. Sakurai doesn't understand why people ask for balance changes in characters and why they think some characters are good and others are bad. That's because he's good with all of them, though. That's not fair. Apparently the tourney was the fastest sign up in the history of the casino, more than softball and golf tournaments they've had. Of course, because video gaming is better. Yeah, it's very interesting. That was the only other topic about that. Like that was the only other aspect of that I wanted to talk about. I thought that was kind of interesting. Because yeah, it does kind of answer a question. You know, this whole thing about whether or not they're trying to kill Xbox on purpose. The big question was why, and this seems like a good why. As far as the Sakurai thing, the other Sakurai thing was it Sakurai that said the thing about Kirby's Air Ride, like the Dolby. They didn't have like the Dolby logo, or they avoided Dolby because the logo would have eaten like 2 seconds. Any character has a chance to win. Have you seen the high level gameplay? You're basing it on items on all stages available. Yeah, Ryan, and I think in that regard, I think that's what he's doing. I think that he's looking at and he's not wrong for that. I don't particularly think he's wrong for that. He's looking at Smash Bros as a 4-player free-for-all fun game, and in which case he's right with items and 4 players and the chaos that ensues. He's right. Any player has a chance there. He's not looking at the hardcore market. He's not looking at these are the people that wake up and eat, sleep, and breathe Smash. 1v1, Final Destination, no items. He's not looking at them. And I get that. Because you could make the same argument about Mario Kart. You could make the same argument about Mario Party. Anything that is designed around a party experience, you could make the same argument, is that everybody should have a chance. That changes when you start to scale. When you remove items out of Mario Kart, the whole game changes. It now all of a sudden you really have to scrutinize which characters you're playing, which cars and which builds you're using, what levels, what stages you're on. It fundamentally changes the entire game when you remove items out of Mario Kart. And it does fundamentally change when you remove the items out of Smash Bros. And you start to scale back the stages, for instance. You know, when you make sure that everything is on Battlefield or Final Destination or the Omega stages, when you make sure everything is on that, the game fundamentally changes. Now all of a sudden you have a tier list because some characters just don't function that well on some of those stages. Some characters have worse recovery. We've said before, why in tournaments do they sometimes not have the smashes on, the final smashes, whatever it is. That's because the final smashes aren't all balanced. Some of them have full screen hits. Some of them have ones that are very much easily avoidable. Some of them have them where they do different things. It's a different experience when you alter the game. So yeah, I would argue that if he makes those comments come from the idea of playing it like a party game, which is all stages, items on, final smashes on. In which case, yeah, every character has the ability to win. I'm going back up. I read that a Sakurai says, "Stop being dumbasses. Smash is a fun party game, not a serious fighting game." Lilac, yeah, that's kind of how it reads. Sakurai also said, "We have internal data showing this, but people want to skip that part because they track online tournaments and events." Yeah, well, it's not even that. It's not that they want to skip it. It's that they look at a different segment of that game. They look at the hardcore tournament segment. Fox only. Can't forget Fox. Oh, yeah, Fox only. Sorry about that. With items on, the meta heavily shifts towards whoever can maintain the most stage control. And luck. And there's a luck-based aspect to it, too. Yeah. Remove items. Mario Kart suddenly becomes Yoshi riding the teddy buggy of the game. Oh, is that like the best combo for speed and agility? Which is also who is meta in competitive play. He's describing how he designed the game, not necessarily how people end up playing it. Yeah. Which I remind you, the Smash community is not reliable either. Both sides believe in you're playing and yeah, you're kind of right there. He didn't say where he got the data. Just we have data, which doesn't tell us what he's using. I mean, I would imagine he's using something more internal. He's just using his own internal data, which encompasses all styles of play, or is he looking at actual tournament play? Because if it's the latter, then no shot everyone has an equal chance. Yeah, but I don't think it's the latter. I would argue that it's definitely not the tournament play. For starters, Nintendo doesn't really fundamentally support them, right? Isn't that the big argument, that they don't really have their own tournaments? Like I would not expect them to design a game around a structure that they don't engage in. I wouldn't expect that at all. Yoshi Teddy Buggy, Azure Wheels, Paper Glider, one of the best combos. Marcos, next time we play, I want to use that combo. I want to see how good that is. With no items and final smashes, the game just becomes boring, typical fighter. In Moon Gravity, Smash's fun comes from the chaos. You know, and Lilac, there are people that find lots of fun in the tournaments. I've said before with Smash 4, I used to play in 4 Glory mode. It was just more interesting to me. The players also took it more seriously. That was one thing about for fun mode. There were a lot of people that would go into the game and they wouldn't actually take it seriously. But I had some serious fights in for fun. But for glory, I usually had some really good fights. It was just I had more I had a more consistent good time in For Glory. The highest level of Smash plays are a fraction of the player base. Clearly now in the past 3 games have been one character is clearly better than the rest for various reasons. He keeps falling for this trap. Yeah, I don't know. Oh wait, hold on. Let me go back up here. See, no, I would think that he tracks it from a position of we make the game for everybody. I feel like that's I just think that's I feel like that's more reasonable. If you were a game developer, would you cater to the largest audience or would you cater to the small fraction of people who, by the way, let's not act like this isn't a factor here. But by the way, that small group of people, they don't exactly have the best reputation. So who do you cater to? You cater to the mass audience, which is, for the most part, the casual players. I mean, that's just true. And that's not even just true for Smash. It's true for anything. This is why you have this problem in a lot of games. Some games are fine with it. Some games don't work with it. This is why a lot of people they don't want the whole game to be a serious game. They just want a serious mode. They want something. That's why I said before with Smash Ultimate, I really wish there was For Glory. I wish they brought that back. And I know that some people don't like that, but for the small group of people that do, comparatively small, for the comparatively small group of people that do like it, it's nice to have that there as a feature. It was there in the last game. So it's not even there. It's not even like there isn't a precedent for it existing. It's meant to be fun and unbalanced, and the players going, you don't know anything. It's just because he just said we have data that shows us the data. That shows the data we could see we're using what you're using to see if it's a valid claim or not. I feel like the data is sales and feedback from the casual market and the casual and the way people play the game, right? Because they're going to have data on which characters people play, which modes people play. Like, they're going to have information on that. So I would question it. I would just assume that that's where that's coming from. I'm not expecting a perfectly balanced game, but I do expect if someone stands out as too good or too bad, then a serious effort to rectify that so everyone can have fun playing who they want and not just what Ganon sucks. Sucks, not going to use them. The problem again, Ryan. I think the problem though is that you're basing that off of a style of gameplay that that the vast majority of people do not engage in. Again, it would be like imagine if they tuned everything in Mario Kart to the battle mode. Right? Most people don't play the battle mode. They play the actual racing mode. So if they started tuning everything to the battle mode specifics, the vast majority of people would probably say, why does this all feel so odd? That's why it's great to be passionate about the hardcore tournament scene, but the tournament scene is a fraction of that player base. It is. So yeah, like Ganondorf's not usable in that fraction of gameplay, but he's probably usable in every other version where you have items and 1v1 and threes and quads, and like he's probably usable everywhere else. He's just not viable in the tournament aspect, but the tournament aspect is a microcosm in the community of that game. If they gave you the data and in fact does support their claims, we would just find it. Yeah, and that's I hate to say that, but that is accurate. It is an accurate question to ask, is that if they gave you some data and you understood where that data comes from, would that be enough? You know? Yeah. If you're smart, the largest audience is who you cater to. If you cater to your hardcore fans, you'll find success, but your game won't be as big as you'd hope. My evidence, Nick All-Stars, a game that went super hard into the melee-ness of platform fighters, and we heard so little about it since release. It's great. it's great that those games exist. It's great that there's hardcore fighting games out there, and it's great that there are hardcore lots of other games. I shouldn't even just point out fighting games specifically, but sometimes for depending on the game, especially for something like that, like nobody's asking for Mortal Kombat with items and 4-player and craziness. Nobody's asking for that. But Smash has always been designed as a more party-based experience. It always has been. Just because a tournament scene developed around it and around a specific way of play, that doesn't mean that the fundamental game should be altered. Again, if you want to have a specific mode for that, that's totally fine. But it's hard for me to say, yes, I think that the game should be tuned specifically for one small group of players. It's hard for me to agree to that. Mortal Kombat 1 is a good example. They made it more for the tournament audience, and nobody's talking about it. It's a fair point. Also, you would not believe the data. Doesn't mean we should just say he had it. And I think that there's an interesting, I think that the data would be kind of interesting. And at that point, it is just a curiosity's sake, but I don't know that it changes anything. Even if they told you the data, even if he told you where they're getting the data from, I think that it's still their choice to design the game how they want to design it and around the user base that they think is going to be the most accessible for them. And that is the casual market. That is the people that want to have fun. Again, there's still a tournament mode. You can still, turn it into a tournament game. There's still it's not like they turned off the ability to remove the items in Final Smashes. All that stuff is still there. There's money to be made by catering to the minority too. If you're the only game in town, you make money that way because there's no one is catering to that market. You can do both. This is why we've been advocating for a real F-Zero for so long. Mario Kart is good and all, but a serious racing game has its place too. And yeah, to an extent, I would agree to that. Where F-Zero and Mario Kart can exist in the same space, but would you be willing to give up F-Zero if they fundamentally changed Mario Kart? Or do you think it would just hurt both? Do you think that now you don't get an F-Zero game and now the Mario Kart game that you like gets fundamentally altered? Would you be willing to give that up? And that's the question. Is Nintendo willing to risk giving up the other stuff? If they balance, because if you balance the game for hardcore tournament fans, it also unbalances it for everybody else. So now, even with items on, right, you power up Ganondorf, and now even with items on, Ganondorf stands out above everybody else. So you have to balancing a game like I don't think it, and that's another problem. I don't think it's as easy as just balance it. I don't think it's as easy to just say, yeah, well, you just have to balance it. Because then what happens? You do too much one way or the other. You've balanced some, you have to balance everybody. And then how do you balance them? Do you make everybody weaker? Do you make him stronger? Is it fair that he gets a buff and everybody else stays the same? What about the characters who are already kind of good, but then now their balancing is just slightly a bit off? It's not easy. I don't think it's easy to sit there and balance out 80 characters in a fighting game. For a game mode, for a style of play that is not engaged by the vast majority of the fan base. They've already been doing that. They're not comparable, so it's more detrimental if you just alter things. I can find ways he's right as much as I can find the opposite. Because yeah, in a game with all items and hazards, anybody has a chance. That's the way I took it. Smash has a fundamental element of options and features which can change the circumstances and then have different results compared to other games where the high play is the only thing that matters. Yeah, I said the same thing about Fortnite. When they removed building from Fortnite, when they added the zero build gameplay, I enjoyed it. I went back to Fortnite and I very much enjoyed it. Why? Because builds adds a skill gap that is insurmountable. If you are good at building and you fight someone that is even mediocre at building, they don't have a chance. That's the thing with Fortnite. Like if you fight someone who's really good at building and you are even just okay at building, you're probably going to lose. The balance that building creates is too huge. It's too unbalanced. The gap is too huge. So they removed building and it became interesting again. Fortnite got a revival in popularity when it added an option to not be Fortnite. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot to that with the Fortnite thing. Like if they had zero build in the beginning, I don't think people would have liked it. I think the reason Fortnite works now without building is because they added a lot of mobility options, the vehicles. There's usually like a grappling hook or something. There's a lot. There's the rifts that you teleport with. Like there's a lot to the game that makes up for not building. This is not sacrosanct. I have data to prove this. And instead of showing the data or releasing the statistics, he just listed a conclusion without actually showing the data. That's my issue more than anything. So yeah, I like you're not wrong in Ryan. You're not wrong in the curiosity of it. You're not wrong in to say that I'm curious to see the data myself and see where it comes from. I don't know that it changes anything. I don't know that. I question whether or not people would see that data and say, okay, I get it. Or would they do that? Or would they say, yeah, but still. And then, right? You see what I mean? Yeah, the just trust me isn't enough. It's not. Like we normally complain about that, and I do complain about that. My question is there enough? Is there an answer? Is there a sheet of data that you could look at and you could say, yes, I agree 100%. I will not complain about this anymore. I won't be upset about this anymore. Is there an answer? I feel like for a lot of people there isn't. I feel like a lot of people will just say, yeah, but still. And then they'll just ignore it and they'll move on and they'll still be upset about it. Because here's the problem. Accepting the data and accepting it doesn't give you the more balanced game that you want. That's why I question whether or not, like, sure, he can give you the data and that's a good thing. It's always good to have that sort of transparency. But I do question whether or not giving people that data is going to make a difference. I think people are just going to say, yeah, whatever. And they're going to because again, it still ends up with them not having the balanced game that they want. Ganon, if Sakurai gives you a spreadsheet on why they make the decisions that they make, at the end of the day, Ganondorf still sucks. So the initial problem that raises the issue doesn't go away. That's why I say that it would be nice to have that data. It's better than just trust me, bro. But it doesn't change the fact that the problem is still going to exist. Ganon has been garbage tier for 3 games. No, wait a minute now. Hold on a second now. Ganondorf was like amazing in 4, wasn't he? I remember people used to complain. I used to see people complain about Ganondorf all the time. Wasn't Ganondorf like a powerful one in 4? He wasn't? Really? I could have sworn I see people bitch about him. Not like to the level of Bayonetta. The best Ganon was in Melee when he was the most Captain Falcony. But you gotta make room for the new broken characters, right? Ganondorf crawled so that Bayonetta could high kick. Bayonetta got nerfed so that Sephiroth could be, well, no, Sephiroth wasn't really. It's Banjo Kazooie. There you go. There's your broken character, stupid Banjo. Ganondorf was always dog shit. He was at the bottom 2, only above Jigglypuff. I think we're reaching Arlo levels, so somehow the fans know about it. Yeah, fans know about it, and the people who made the game keep buying it. Oh, Minecraft Steve. Yeah, I guess Steve was a little bit broken. Yeah, Steve was the best broken character. What about Min Min? Do you think Min Min broke? I mean, I think there was a lot of concern about Min Min being broken, but I didn't feel like she ended up being completely broken. DeMarcus is about. Hold on. Let's be clear. Sakurai's a really good developer, but he isn't perfect as many make him out to be. He's flawed like any other person. So to just take his word for it is not enough for some people. People are right to challenge and question his ideology and beliefs. But I'll also say no one knows that game as well as him and his team. And Marcos, one of the things I always say is that I don't trust any system that tells you that you're not supposed to ask questions. Any system that tells you don't ask me. That's why I say, like, just trust me, bro. It really isn't enough. My point is, even with that information, I don't think they're going to change the problem. And at the end of the day, the problem is still going to be the problem. He's not perfect. It's funny how Sakurai says stuff we agree with. He's a goated game dev. Any other time, he's out of touch. Hold on, I'm going back up. Going down. Kazuya is basically Ganondorf if he was good. Ooh, who are Greninja? We all know it was Greninja who got. I remember Greninja being, people liked him. Min Min has some tops, but I don't think anything major. It's just awkward to me because on some level he understands that people want a more balanced game. Because from Brawl to 4, he nerfed Meta Knight, and from 4 to Ultimate, he nerfed Bayonetta. But he keeps falling into this trap where one or two characters just dominate, and he just kind of shrugs for that game. It's weird. There's also a side tangent there where you could argue that they kind of do that on purpose because it makes people change. You know, like if
your ideas are intriguing to
if
me.
Ganondorf was great since Melee, you'd never use anybody else, right? Every game. I mean, I do it, right? I'd use Villager. I use it, and Villager. The thing is, I'm more locked into Villager than I am into top tier gameplay. Elo Maria 0182, thank you so much for the follow. Very much appreciate that. Like Villager, I'm loyal to Villager, right? I find him fun to play. I find him fun to use. That's Brawl Meta Knight. But yeah, you can argue that you change the meta, you change the strongest characters because it forces people to change. You know, people complain about like Warzone, Call of Duty Warzone. People would complain. Fortnite actually changes guns around. Fortnite very regularly changes guns around. Warzone, once you like level up a gun and you earn a gun, you have the gun. Oh, sorry. First of all, I'd like to say that I know basic English. I'm a Brazilian girl, and I want to apologize for any misspelling. Oh, no problem. You're all good here. Like Fortnite changes guns around. You'll get an update, and then there'll be a bunch of guns that were taken out and a bunch of different ones that were added in. So they change the meta all the time by doing that. They don't really balance the weapons so much as they change the weapons. Warzone, once you learn a gun, you have it. You have it all the time. The problem is if you don't really alter the meta, or if you discover a perfect meta, people they'll pick the guns that they like, and then they won't use anything else. So a lot of people get mad at Warzone that, oh no, they changed they rebalanced everything and they nerfed this gun, and now this gun is way too weak. And most of the guns aren't viable, right? There's handfuls of guns in Warzone that are really viable to use, depending on what you're doing. If you're doing like Rebirth Island, that there's a different meta there. If you're playing multiplayer, for instance, that's very different. So people get mad. But realistically, if you don't change that meta around, if you don't move that balancing around, people just stay on the same guns and they never change. And then the game gets stale and they don't want to play it anymore, and then they move on and they do something else. So there is a discussion there to be had. There is a point to be made about changing balancing from game to game and even within game to game. Because let's say they do that. Let's say tomorrow Sakurai says, we're going to rebalance all the characters. We're going to try and get this right. What do you think happens? Everybody starts going through all the characters again. They all figure out which one, what got nerfed, what got buffed. They write a new meta. They write a new tier list. Everybody starts using the top 5 characters on that tier list. Then 6 months from now, everybody complains, these characters are so much better than the other characters. Why isn't this game balanced? It's the same thing. It happens all the time. And I don't blame the devs because that's not easy to do. The best example, the best statement I ever heard somebody make about that is, as long as players have calculators, there will always emerge a best way to play the game. It's always going to happen. As if you rebalance the entire game right now, give it a week, and there will be a few characters that emerge as the best players in the game, as the best characters in the game. And the meta chasers will switch to them. Everybody will try them out just because. The meta chasers will switch to them. They'll learn them better because they know, if I learn this character the best, I will be the best. And then a few months from now, when everybody's using the same 5 characters, anybody who's not using them will say, this game is wildly unbalanced. I used to be okay with Zero Suit Samus, and now I can't use her anymore. And the same thing will happen all over again. It happens with every game. I'm going. She said, I'm not expecting perfection and a completely balanced game, but I do expect an effort to keep the this guy is clearly just better than the rest to a minimum, which Sakurai so far has failed at, in my opinion. And my point is that I think it'll just keep happening. I think, and again, you can't know without actually trying, because you're right. You should actually try and balance the characters out a little bit in that regard. But again, you are talking about balancing it out for a very small fraction of the game, of the player base. But the issue is just that the problem is going to happen again. It either won't be as significant, or something will happen and it'll be more significant. Right? Ganondorf will be buffed, and he won't be buffed enough, or he'll be buffed just a little too much, and he'll edge out everybody else. He'll be better, and everybody will be pissed off, because if you're not playing Ganondorf, you don't have a chance. Or you barely have a chance. It's crazy to know min-max games to hell and back, but won't... Okay, Blaze. Sakurai didn't say I won't show you the data. Just he makes a 3-minute video on his YouTube about balance and use Smash as an example because he developed the game and has data. Yeah. So like the comments where all of this stuff is coming from wasn't even about Smash particularly. It was about balancing a video game, right? I don't think anyone's arguing that meta would develop. I think people are complaining that the low tier characters tools don't allow for any outplayability. When fighting the top tiers. But it's kind of the same thing, right? Like, isn't it kind of the same thing where again, remember, you're not really talking about the casual market. You're talking about the hardcore market. And the hardcore market's always going to do that. They're always going to find the meta, and when they learn that meta better, there are going to be characters that are unusable. You know, in a perfect world, every character would have an equal shot. Every bit of damage that they do would be balanced with the kind of moves that they have and the move sets that they have. That would be perfect. But I feel like I don't know of a video game that's ever done that. I don't know of a competitive video game that has balanced everything so perfectly that no matter who you play, you've got a chance. Any game, once they introduce some differences, a meta will form, and there'll be characters at the top of that meta, and there will always inevitably, because there has to be, there will be characters at the bottom of that list. And the fans of those characters will be the first ones to say, I don't like that my character doesn't have a chance. That's the problem. Would Ryan, would you be this upset if Ganondorf was a B tier character? Right? Because that's the big complaint, right? Is that Ganondorf is just awful. Would you be that upset if he was just a B tier character? If you felt like you had a chance with him when you played? Because that's the gripe, right? Is that you feel like you don't have a chance with him at all. But what if you did? What if we were talking B tier, low A? You probably wouldn't be that upset. Eventually, characters are going to end up at the bottom of a tier list, and players are going to feel like they do not have a chance, and they're going to be the first ones that are pissed off. If you did it with... I'm not a hardcore Smash player, and I can tell you right now that if you... I mean, Village is already at the bottom, right? But, I mean, he's close to the bottom. But if you nerfed him to the point and you made his damage and his launch ability or launch attacks or whatever, if you made all of that so weak that there's no point in even playing with him, I'd be kind of upset. I would say, damn, I like Villager. I like his moveset. I think he's a really fun character, and now I can't even use him because I can't use him with any realistic hope of winning. Yeah, Villager's mid-tier. So am I, though. So I use Ganon as a prime example because he's gotten bottom 3 for the past 5 games in a row. I also play Sonic, who is considered top 3 in Ultimate right now. Game Freak, thank you so much. In the hunt with a Twitch Prime sub. Guess what? Villager butt. Subscribe for 26 months. I very much appreciate that. I gotta get my water. Hold on. Let me get my water. Actually, what time is it? 5:03? Wow. Activate didn't attempt to balance Ultimate during its entire lifetime, which they did constantly. We got notes about them all the time. They just don't anymore. Yeah, you're right. We did get balance. It's not like we never got balancing for the game. Yeah, and the same thing happened. You know, you had characters that were better. You had characters that were worse. That shifted around. Poor Ganondorf probably still stayed at the bottom, but and that's what's right. I feel like most people care about proving Sakurai wrong rather than actual analyze. Yeah, to an extent, probably. I don't care about tier lists. I just want to do the funny Ganon stomp off stage. Yeah, he sucks. And his stupid armored punch. Smash Melee's meta was figured out years ago. And then Jigglypuff was considered the worst character in the game by everyone. The best Melee player named Hungrybox plays Jigglypuff and still wins tournaments to this day. So that sounds like a good balance. I mean, do people play that's kind of a stupid question about Melee, but do people play the GameCube version, or do they play do they play Project M? Because isn't Project M the more balanced version of the game? I play Smash because Wario is in there, and he says, "Woohoo!" I'd say you can have characters at the bottom of the tier list, but you can also make them C tier characters, if not F tier, where the character has no good matchups. Yeah, that definitely does happen. But again, if you balance that, and this was my point earlier, was if you balance that, that's great. But in balance, the trick of balancing that is someone's probably going to get the short end of the stick. Maybe not, obviously not intentionally. But that's the difficulty of balancing. If I make this character a little bit stronger, it gives them this matchup and it makes this matchup better. But does it make this matchup way too unbalanced? Does it screw everything up? And then I got to raise everybody else. Like, this was a problem. To me, this was a significant problem in Warzone. They said that they fixed it, but I watched enough stuff and I've tried to play Warzone again a weekend or two ago, and the problem is still there. Their idea of balancing was to make certain guns better, and then make the weaker guns better, and then make the weakest guns better. And then now you have a TTK, you have a time to kill that's so fast, it doesn't feel like you have a chance to play the game at all. By the time you realize you've been hit with one bullet, you're dead. So then the balancing act there starts to become weak in the guns. But now everybody complains that all of their weapons feel weak. So that's what happens in Smash. It's like, all right, well, we have to make Ganondorf stronger. All right, well, I'm just using Ganondorf to continue on the example. We make Ganondorf stronger. Great. That helps him have a little bit more viability. The problem is the extra strength with his moveset now makes him dominate certain characters. Yeah, I want to feel like I have a legitimate chance no matter who I'm fighting, rather than go, well, they chose Steve, time to choose Sonic or Wolf. Well, okay, Ryan, now you're talking about a different problem, because now you're talking about match balancing, and now you're talking about matching 80 characters up with 80 other characters. Now you're talking about specific matchups. You're never going to, let's be clear about that. I don't care what data Sakurai shows up with you. You are never going to balance 80 characters versus 80 characters. It's just not going to happen. There is no way that happens. That is 100% a losing fight. You can't do it. Yeah, it's too many. It's too many. Even if you were talking about 20 versus 20, you'd be kind of on that brink of like, that's a lot of work to do. That's a lot of balancing to do. Yeah, 80 on 80, it's never going to happen. All right. Give me a couple minutes. I gotta get my water because I haven't had any water in a little bit. I haven't actually taken a break the whole time. And I want to get some more coffee. And then when I come back, we will jump. I thought we had one more topic. What was the other topic? Oh, the studios that were closing. I don't know if I want to talk about that today. Do we want to talk about that today, or maybe we'll jump into like a game or something, and we'll play a little. We'll play some Tetris. We'll play Mario Land. Maybe we'll show off the new Game Boy games. Nintendo acquired a studio, which is a very weird studio. So we can probably talk about that while we play the game. But give me a few minutes, and I will be right back. By the way, it's nice to come back and talk about stuff. Boo, boo, boo. I got an email. I got an email from Nintendo. Says, I put a comparison to the Fight Stick and in stream topics. Stream topics. A hitbox. Okay, I didn't think of when you said leverless stick. I don't normally hear that as a leverless stick. I usually hear that as a hitbox. Because that's what a hitbox is, right? It's just a non-stick stick. No, I got an email. Hitbox is a specific brand. Okay, I didn't know that Hitbox was a brand. Okay. Regarding your pre-order for Star Wars Hunters, dear me, thank you for pre-ordering Star Wars Hunters. We wanted to let you know the release date is coming up soon. Price $0 because it's a free-to-play game. The price shown above reflects any applied discounts, but please note that some discounts, such as those granted by owning related products, may depend on a specific product being in your possession at time of payment. If you no longer possess such a product of... They know it's a free game, right? I saw it and I almost had a little panic attack because the email, it's like the first thing I saw was like regarding your pre-order for, I was like, oh God, they canceled my Paper Mario. And I'm like, Star Wars Hunters? Really? That's 2 weeks from now, right? June 4th? Isn't that June 4th? Yeah. Oh, it's exactly 2 weeks from now. Oh, it's exactly 2 weeks from now. And Ronan, let me know if you're going to try XDefiant at some point. I know you're the other shooter person, so let me know if you're going to try that at some point. I mean, I think it's free to play. It's right. It's 30 gigs. I might try it. 1 second here. All right. So I'm hopeful for Star Wars. I mean, Lilac, I think I was a little more curious. I was a little more. I'm definitely more curious now, but. I think I was a bit more, ironically, I think I was a bit more concerned when I thought it was going to be a creator character sort of battle royale game. Now that I understand, assuming it is correct, because I don't think that they actually did clarify that, but I think all of the data implies that that's what it is. Now that I know it's a sort of Overwatch style hero shooter, I am genuinely more interested. I'm more interested because I feel like it's easier to build a world with an established set of characters rather than just creator character. It's always been a hero based. See, and that's this thing. That was the thing, is that when they first showed it, I don't think that they said that. Like all this time that we've been waiting for that game, I don't think that they ever said that it was a hero shooter. I always just assumed that those could have been creator characters. Like I didn't know that, because a hero shooter is established characters, and I thought that they were just creator characters. So it wasn't until that big trailer that we had a little while ago, where I was like, oh, it's a hero shooter. They did. In fact, that the only things they showed off were, did they show their names? When did they, like, when was that? When did they show off all of the characters and their names? Dear Uncle, in regard to that free Star Wars game. Wait, why does that sound like the beginning of a Eminem song? It just moved from battle royale to arena shooter. Yeah, I had no idea that they had confirmed that it was going to be a hero shooter. Yeah, I didn't know that. Well, now I feel like a dumbass. Let's just come back hours and talk and not play video games. God, not playing video games is the best, Marcos. No, let me set this up here. So I wasn't really sure what to do, so maybe we'll just go into the Game Boy stuff, and we'll show off the new Game Boy games that came out. Well, we'll show off two of them because one of them is baseball. Maybe we'll play a round of Tetris or something. I don't know, we'll figure something out. Somber, thank you so much. In the home with a tier 1 sub. Hold on. Let me get this here, because if I screw this up. Thank you so much. In the Hunt with a tier 1 sub, subscribe for 49 months. On a 49-month streak. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Somber. Hello. What's up with the prejudice towards baseball? Oh, not towards baseball, Blaze. Towards this baseball game in particular. It's an early Game Boy game. And that's the thing. Why you hate baseball? Your Phillies are in first. Are they in first place? Hey, congratulations! I like baseball again. No, I have no problem with baseball. Baseball's as a sport, as a professional sport, I find baseball is one of the sports that I think is just too long for me. I think there's way too much time where nothing's happening in baseball. And I think that, like, I understand it, but you know what's funny? I've been to baseball games and I find that more exciting. I find it more exciting than watching baseball on TV. Yeah, baseball is always a sport that I always thought would have been more interesting if you, if it was shorter. I mean, it doesn't need like the Blurns ball uplift. Just something else. Basketball, I feel the same way. I always thought that basketball would be more interesting if it was like 4 or 5 minute quarters or something. I think that would be much more. I think there'd be more hustle to the game. I think it would be more exciting to see what happens. Blurns. Like, imagine you're watching baseball and then the Phillies hit. They hit one out to deep right field and it drops in and locks the third multi-ball. Come on, man, that's good stuff. I've already played the betas, and I think XDefiant is better than COD. No skill-based matchmaking, none of that weird bullet garbage when firing a gun that's been in COD for years. There are classes based on different Ubisoft games. The only thing I don't know is if they brought back the Splinter Cell faction, because they broke that game. Multi-ball! That's so fun. Here, let me change this up here. We can change the category. Let's go retro. I got to look at the right places and actually got a voucher for the 2 games for $80. Paper Mario and Mario Maker 2. I think I was supposed to be more interesting if items were. Yeah, just add items. Just add sticks and stuff. No, I think I mean it's funny. I say that. I joke about that, and I was about to say I think hockey is the most interesting sport for me to watch. I find that to be the most interesting. I like football. Football has a lot of downtime also. But I think that when the downtime, especially in a good football game where they're not calling timeouts and stuff, where they're on the 40-second hustle, I think that those are usually the best games. I think they're most interesting. Basketball, I think, is exciting, but it's just too long. Baseball is way too much downtime, and don't really get me started on anything beyond that. Tennis is another one. I think tennis is a lot of fun to watch to an extent. I just think that there's a lot of it. And it's such a weird, what is it, like 15, 30, 40? What? Come on. I never liked baseball since I was forced to play it in school. So I'm not a sports guy. I mean, I'm mostly not really a sports guy either. Bananas on the field. Third base already has a show. Yeah, like, come on, man. That sounds amazing. All right, so here, I will show you why this game in particular. What are wait, I did this before, but I just did USA mode. What's Japan mode? There's something nostalgic about baseball, knowing it's something people have played for 150 years, relatively unchanged, and the social happenings that have come with it. I was like Jackie Robinson and all that. Then again, yeah, you're a baseball fan, so you see all of that stuff. Because I can say that stuff about football, right? I can talk about the way that sport has changed, while also staying the same to an extent. What about the downtime in sports? Like chess doesn't really have downtime though. Like you look at it and you think it's downtime, but their brains are moving a mile a minute. In F1, once you know the drivers, you learn who the competent ones are. Yes, I can watch F1 and be interested in that. I can watch F1 and definitely, because F1's kind of like hockey in that there's always an opportunity for something to happen. Oh wait, well I want to select my team. How do I select my team? I want to be the Eagles, I suppose. Wait, why is it the Eagles and the Bears, but I chose the everybody's Japanese. Everybody's Japanese, but I chose the Eagles. Why isn't it like the Samurais versus the Mochis? Oh, they got bears in Japan. Ah, I guess they technically do. What? Come on. Oh, no way. Whoa. Like, I don't know where anybody is. Where are the players? Come on! Dude, I can go for some mochi right now. Oh, no! I can't tell where all of my characters are. Okay. You can see it, right? Oh my god. Whoa. This is why. This as a baseball game, this is like, oh. And again, I don't fault the game. It's just, you know, it's an early Game Boy game. In a fight between a samurai and a plate of mochi, my money's on the mochi. Absolutely. No, don't pop fly. The computer's too good. Was this a launch title game? This is pretty accurate to baseball. I mean, to be fair, I feel like you can't really do baseball games wrong. Oh no. Like, just follow the same formula that every baseball game does, and you're fine. Oh, he's good. He's got a base hit. Oh, no. Wait, go back. No, MLB Slugfest where you can punch the ball out of the mitt and get a safe call. Oh, come on. That wasn't a bunt. That's 110 kilometers? Yeah, I guess kind of so. Oh, no. No! Safe. Whew. There we go. Is it possible to not hit a pop fly in this game? Because it's going to be right there. Oh, come on. Damn it, Griffey. All right. We're done with that. I can't. There's only so much. Winnie the Pooh's home run derby failed at baseball. Oh, did it really? Oh no. I mean, that's a Winnie the Pooh game. Yeah, I don't know that I can think of a baseball game where I was like, because it's kind of like golf games. I've said this before about stuff like Hot Shots Golf. The idea of you push the button, there's a meter that goes up, you tap it at the top, there's a meter, the meter comes back, you tap it in the right range. Like, that's such a perfect format for golf games. I don't see the point in doing it any differently. So I felt like PGA does it. It just looks different. If they even still make those PGA games, like, I feel like any golf game would just use the same exact formula. So the idea of like baseball games, right? The camera angle, the behaviors you hold down. Like, I didn't need to look up a guide to figure out how to pitch in this game. I knew how to do it. They all use the same exact thing. I feel like the most elaborate baseball game I've ever played, other than, you know, like the actual MLB games, is something like Baseball Stars, which is awesome. I love the first Baseball Stars. The second one, yeah. I think like Slugfest, it's more arcadey than Sports Sims. It's like MLB equivalent of NFL Blitz. They don't make that. They don't make those anymore. My favorite of those, Ryan, it was a hockey game called NHL Hits. So much fun. I had so much fun playing that. So, okay, so then this is Alleyway. This is a fine game, again, for what it is. They just had to put Mario in there. Yeah, aka Breakout. Like, there's always a Breakout version. My problem with this, like, I understand why they put it in there, right? It's nostalgic for the Game Boy. If you're gonna put a game like this, put Arkanoid. Arkanoid, and obviously that's not a Game Boy game, but Arkanoid was the version of this game that had like power-ups and stuff. You could change the size of the ship. You could get like a laser, and like there were all kinds of crazy things that you could do in Arkanoid, and it added so much to this style of game. Ironically, I still think one of the best ones of these, other than maybe like Arkanoid, is a Breakout on Atari 2600. I think it's so like, there's something about the simplicity of that version of the game that benefits this kind of game. Does NES own Arkanoid? I don't think so. I think Arkanoid is Arkanoid Taito? Why do I think Arkanoid is Taito? Yeah, no, I understand why it's not. I just kind of wish they, like, it's the situation where I play this game and I play games like it and it makes me want to play Arkanoid. I think it's Taito. Yeah, and there's like no music, right? That's another thing. And again, it's a Game Boy game. I'm not criticizing it for being a Game Boy game. I'm saying that, like, from an engagement standpoint, there's no music. It doesn't really it doesn't hold your interest besides just doing the thing that it's doing. Okay, can we really? There we go. Gotta change the shape. Ah. It is Taito. Wow, how did I get that right? I knew a thing. But this game has Mario. Yeah, he's in the giant rod. Yeah, there we go. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, you know, you need a little music. You need a little something to fill the void. I mean, that's one thing about retro games. Retro games they're great. Like I think I kind of said this. I forget what game we were playing. In Final Fantasy VII on SGB, we have the problem where the music is crapping out. And I said in one of the episodes, it really highlights how important that stuff is, because we like good video game music and we appreciate hearing it, but you don't realize how much it does, how much of the lifting it does, until you don't have it. And like this experience right here, if I had a little tune, right, I'd be sitting here kind of and it'd be the same exact gameplay, but it'd be so much more interesting. This is what you play while your mom is trying on clothes at the mall and you're stuck sitting near the changing room so you don't wander off. Yeah, you don't have a lot of time. You can't really get into a Pokemon game. You don't want to really get into a battle with a gym leader right now, especially back then, right? Because you couldn't. It's not like you could just close your Game Boy. So you play something like this. Here, the ball kind of makes music. Which you had some games that did that. You had stuff like, I think Dig Dug. Dig Dug had a thing where like the music would play while you were moving. Yeah, you get the little tones when it hits the top of the level. Get it? Yeah. Get one. Yes. Get him. Yup. Oh, no. No. Get it. Home in on it. Yes. Gotta make it play over overall music from Mario. Oh, gotta make it play overall music from Mario. There's another Game Boy breakout. Kirby's Block Ball. It has music and powers. I think it should have done that instead. Is that a regular Game Boy? Game Boy Color? No. Can you play NSO without internet? You can, but once a week, it's going to check to make sure that you're going to need an internet connection to make sure that you still have NSO. So, like, you go online, it'll do the check, and then if you disconnect it from the internet, I think you've got a week to play before it tries to do the check again. And then if it can't, then it'll say you need to connect to the internet to verify that you have NSO. I think that's how it works. All right. Are we having fun yet? I'm enjoying this. In other news, Sony's delayed the Kraven movie again, this time till December, so yet another Marvel movie can get decimated by a hedgehog. Well, that's good, though, because Kraven, you know, Ryan, at its core, Kraven is a family property, you know? That's the movie you want to see at Christmas time. You know? Kraven Saves Christmas with a K. Whoa. Here, I'll beat this level and then we'll move on. We'll play some Mario Land. But yeah, these are the 3 games that were added. Whoa. I'd watch that. It's Kraven Saves Christmas. I'm in. Yes, you're... Oh, wait. Oh, no, wait. Oh, that's right. These are... Okay. Good. We got to the bonus level. Wonder if you can... Get... Oh, no! No! Come on! There you go. Oh! 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 Wait! Look! Oh! Oh! Wait a minute. I think I'm good at this. I got 500 points for that. Are you kidding me? I put a song from Kirby's Block Ball in the music form. I can't believe I got that. Well, it's certainly archaic by today's standards. Being able to play it. Yeah, and that's the thing. You're playing this on the go. Like, you're playing this. This is in your pocket. Like, that's amazing. Move it to December because people will have more money and time around the holidays. They really are turning it into a Christmas movie. Why did the bonus stage get the music? I mean, they only had so much money. They only had so much room. Oh, man. I mean, and the sad thing is that's probably not a joke. That's probably... They had enough data. They had enough space to fit one song. So they were like, just use it for the bonus song. I would have just used it for everything. This game is goated. Needs a remake. I wonder when the last breakout game was. No, stay up there. Probably PS1? Do they? I don't know. I don't think they do. You know what? I do kind of question that. That's actually a pretty good question. Like, do they still make a lot of these arcade games? Like, when was the last Pong? Like new Pong, not like a device that just has Pong on it. When's the last time somebody tried to revamp Pong? Oh, the Recharge games. A revamped version of this, Breakout Recharge, was released in February 10, 2022 for Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox One series, Microsoft Windows, and as part of the Atari Recharge series. That's right. They're doing a Yars one, aren't they? With Yars Revenge, isn't that what it's called? That's supposed to be... the crazy thing is that Yars game is supposed to actually be good. I actually saw some stuff about it, and it was like, wow, that actually looks really incredible. I can't believe that. Ever play Space Invaders? No, I never played Space Invaders versus Arkanoid. Yeah, Way Forward is making a new Yars game. It's a Metroidvania style. Like, how crazy is that? No, not Ye Yars Revenge. Isn't that wild? That's so wild. Like, but yeah, that is kind of interesting. Like, when was the last time someone tried to make Breakout Pong, Frogger? When was the last time somebody did a Frogger game? Okay, we're good. Game selection. All right, so this is the big boy. This is the one. Yars needs moms. Oh wait. There was going to be a Breakout game on the Amico. Where's my Breakout 99? You know what I wouldn't mind, Somber? Atari 99, where it's like a sequence of Atari 2600 games, and then you beat one game, or like you get right just to it like the NES tournament cartridge. Destroy 100 blocks in Breakout, and then it shifts to combat, and you have to destroy a tank in combat. Like, base everything off of Atari 2600 games. The big boy game, the one you can beat in half an hour if you know what you're doing. Well, Ryan, you could beat Mario Bros in less than 5 minutes. Boop, 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 do 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 do. This is, I've said this before. This game, to this day I still hum this song, and it's how I remember that. Wow, I played this game a lot more than I thought I did. Like, I always think, yeah, I didn't really play this game that much. And then to this day, I'm still humming the song. Yeah, this is the game that gave us Daisy. There's so many remixes. Are there really? Have you heard the official orchestrated version? No. There's an orchestrated version of this soundtrack? That's incredible. And we were talking about this the other day when the games first came out. It's funny how much stuff they kind of changed, right? For some reason, the Koopa Troopas explode. Hold on, I didn't go down here. The super, you get a flower, but it's a Super Ball. It's weird how much stuff they changed. That's a Mario Bros enemy, like original Mario Bros. Oh wait, I literally missed every shot there, huh? Such a weird, not like actual music. Yeah, Mario drops like a rock in this game. He does. Wasn't it licensing things with this make? So they put a can. What's this? So they put the can from the star? Wait, what? Hold on, I got lost there. Wasn't it a licensing thing with this make? I guess that's game. So they had to put the can for the star? Check out chat one. Oh, that's it there? Okay, thank you. Imagine they play that in the Mario movie. Like, yeah, I it's just funny because I do think about that didn't happen. You didn't see that. I think about that. I think about how, you know, we always talk about games that change up things, and this game feels different. And it's such weird. Like, why do the Koopa Troopers, their shells explode? Cheater! I don't know what you're talking about. I will say, though, not only the game, but also myself. They aren't Koopas? Oh, they're not? Oh, the song is the can. I didn't know that that's what the name of that song was. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, I guess that is the name of that song, huh? Woo! They're bombs in disguise. I mean, but they existed before Bob-omb. No, we would have had Mario 2 by then. Yeah, that's not a Bob-omb. That's definitely a... Oh, what? Whoa. Since someone mentioned it, you should listen to a few seconds of Mutike on that soundtrack. Wait, hold on. No! Hold on. So this is the Super Mario Land arranged music. Which song here? Medley, End Staff, Princess Daisy theme, In Front of the Enemy, Invincibility, Chinese style stage. Shooting BMG, Underground. None of them are named that. Main BGM 1, main BGM 2, Underground BGM, Shooting BGM, Chinese style stage, Invincibility, In Front of the Enemy, Enemy Transformation, Princess Daisy, Ending Staff Roll, and Medley. Invincibility. All right, I'm going to cut that there before I get in trouble, but it's so elaborate. No, I don't think I'll get in trouble, right? Oh my God. Holy smokes. That's great. For what, classical music? I mean, technically that's their own personal arrangement, isn't it? No, I don't think I would get in trouble for that. Which reminds me, we gotta play Mad Maestro on stream. I want to play that game on stream with you guys. I love that game. Just play it in the video and put it on YouTube and wait for the strike. Well, Lilac, the problem is the strike comes from some random company who just likes striking videos so that they can make pennies off of yours. I'm back. X-Defiant is still fun and it's more polished now. Making me curious there. Oh wait, it's Castlevania. I know I can get these. Entire soundtrack like that's amazing, and the last song is the entire GB version. Oh, it's all in one. See, I'll probably just listen to that. Oh wait, I can go up there? Oh, I could have. Wait, how do you get up there? Hold on. I'm gonna go back. I kind of want to see how are you supposed to get up there? Huh? That's the beginning. Can you go this way? Interesting. Wonder how you get up there. That's the neat part. You don't. Oh no. Copyright claim on a streamer-friendly Hi-Fi Rush song. They did that. They did that of a good job. Oh, there we go. I guess it'd be, well, where? There was no gap in the ceiling to get up there. Yeah, that's why. There was no gap in the ceiling. Because you can't go backwards. Go back to where the question blocks were. Well, now I'm past it. Whoa. Get up. He has no mobility, by the way. Rewind? Oh, wait, go back to where the blocks were. Here? There's no gap. Like in the ceiling, I mean. There's no hole in the ceiling for you to go up. I wonder if those hieroglyphs on the yeah. That's what I mean. There's no hole. I went too far? Oh, not far enough. Oh wait. I can do that. Hold on. Too far gone for the rewind. Did you know that if you rewind it here, you can then rewind further? That's the beginning of the stage. We're right here. Did you know that? Yeah. Break these blocks? Oh, is there like a vine? Have you heard of clipping through terrain? I guess you can. There's a cutoff point that blocks you eventually. All right, so let's see something here. Hold on. It must be later. But it can't be later because you can't go backwards. Oh, wait, hold on. I need to kill that. Oh, damn it. Hold on. No. Okay. Hold on. I'm trying. I want to see something here. Is that good? I don't know if you can do it in this. No, now I'm just kind of curious if you can do the old Mario 1 trick. I guess you can't. I wasn't sure if you could do the Mario 1 trick. Yeah, I guess you just can't get up there, huh? That's why, even if it was here. And it's not like there's a pipe up there that I can, like, warp back to. Whoa. I need to shoot more than one. Oh, here. This is what you were seeing. Okay. What? I mean, oh wait. Went too far. Go back and break these blocks. There we go. Yeah, see, it won't let you run backwards though. Unless this does kick you back to the beginning. No, don't. Oh, well, it doesn't kick you back to the beginning, that's for sure. And this crazy, like, which way did he go, George music? Which way did he go, George? The secret area music is the tuba song. Yeah, it is. It is. Stop following me. Whoa. Haha. Oh no. Yeah, I was trying to do the Mario, you know the Mario 1 thing, right? Where you clip into the blocks and you go up to the top. Those were specifically bombshell Koopas. Oh my god, look. And it was actually an enemy. Oh, or it wasn't actually her. Oh my god, that's a Mario 1 callback. No, not the minus world glitch. Well, you use it for the minus world glitch. No, it's how you get to the top of like 1-2. Oh, you can't kill those. I mean, we're gonna wrap up here in a second, but oh. Except with Princess instead of Bowser. Hello? What are we doing? Whoa, nope. Okay. Oh, because I have to get that one. Is there like, I wonder if there's a way to, okay. No, get up. Got stuck. The problem with this game, how slippery it is. I mean, yeah, it's definitely, you know, it's got its early problems. Oh, it's sound pipe areas. I know it's there in the GB version. What was there sound in the? I mean, this is the straight up GB version, so I can't imagine this is any different. Come on. Oh no, I really went after him. Is that a Seadra? I'm getting hit by a Seadra. God, his control is terrible. And again, I'm not really expecting much, so this isn't like, this game is horrible. But his control is just like, whew. Oh, the sound when you pick up coins. In this, there hasn't been any sound, which is odd. There should be. Oh, my cousin graduation got him a backbone. Oh, was he like a coward before? That's kind of... Oh, the controller thing. That's a good gift then. That's a really good gift. Have fun. Have fun at the graduation. This orchestrated song is amazing. All right. Oh, yeah, I was playing the other day, so I have a save file already. Yeah, but those are the new games that were added. They're a lot of fun. Well, you know, one of them is a lot of fun. Overall, you know, it is what it is. It's good to have Mario Land 1. I would like for them to add the Mario 1 DX, I think it was called. I think that's the one that added like a bunch of stuff. The Game Boy Color game. I think that would be kind of nice to add. But overall, you know, I mean, what can you say? It's 3 Game Boy games, right? like what are you expecting? You know what I mean? Like what Game Boy game? Here's a good question. What Game Boy game do they add that you go, "Oh my God. Finally. They're adding it. Now I can finally play it." Right? Like Link's Awakening? I just don't. DK94 or 64. DK94. The Pokemon games. That's not a bad call. The Pokemon games are not a bad call. Mario Land. No, we have Mario Land 2. Mario Land 2 is already there. Yeah, the Gen 1 Pokemon games, that'd be kind of interesting. It's funny because I feel like they're saving them for something big, but what else is there? Right? You got Mario Golf. You got Mario Tennis. This was an amazing grab. I can't believe they put this on there because this game is like $300. You got the Pokemon trading card game, so it'd be nice for them to have the other ones. You do have the Zelda games. You have all 3 of them, really. Metroid 2, yeah, Mario Land. I think Mario Land 2 was one of the first ones. Wario Land 1 and 2. Like, yeah, I don't know that there's a lot of games that I would say, oh my God, finally. Now we have access to it. Like, what would you even want there? Although there is I would like Nemesis. It was like their Gradius game. I would love to have that on there. And the other Castlevania games, I think would be fine. I think you've got the rarest one, so just put the other ones on there. Wario Land 3 is so good. Did we play this one? I know we beat Mario Land 2 on stream. I don't remember if we played Wario Land. Oh, what'd you say about Thousand Year Door? Hold on. Hold on. We can get this over here. According to Metacritic, I know. Thousand Year Door Remake is the highest rated Mario RPG since Bowser's Inside Story on the DS. I mean, it's very telling, Ryan. Ryan, it's very telling, but I feel like fans of the Mario games would be the first ones to tell you that. Like, I feel like that's not uncommon, right? The idea that it'll probably be the best one since Bowser's Inside Story, which I have my issues with Bowser's Inside Story, but I know that it is a fan favorite game. And then everything afterwards, everybody's kind of like, eh. Why do we have so many? Oh, RC, I have I have like the UK choices on there too. I have like the other region choices. So this is the regular one, the English one, and then Francois and Deutsch, right? So I've got those on there. I mean, this is back in the day. So like I've got the European and the regular one. Yeah, that's why. That's why. Bowser's Destroyer is my favorite RPG. Oh, there was a live show in 14 for Sherlock. What's this? Oh, okay. That's actually kind of cool, though. Imagine having to subscribe to Final Fantasy 14 because the hottest plays are there. Many of the recent ones were mid 80s, so they weren't that far below Thousand Year Door Switch ever. Even Mario RPG was 84. Well, yeah, not far, but I mean that's just a good thing about the franchise. If the lowest you can get with those games is like an 80, that's usually a pretty good sign. Yeah, that is a thing. Well, that's an interesting topic for another time. Lilac is like games that you play for other things. You know, you play and not even like Final Fantasy 14 is kind of tricky because there's obviously so many other things, but like isn't 14 and I think we've said this before, isn't 14 and one of the Yakuza games, aren't they considered the best way to play Mahjong? Like if you want to play video game Mahjong, aren't there, or I think 14 has one, and I think one of the Yakuza games has like the greatest version. Like it's worth it to get that game and play through it so that you can get to the Mahjong part of the game. Because it's the most comprehensive version of that game ever. Like, that's always interesting. Yeah, it's the Yakuza games. I thought 14 had something like that, too. But yeah, apparently the Yakuza games, if you want to play video game Mahjong, the best way to do it is through one of the Yakuza games. Oh, yeah, 14 Mahjong was thrown out as an April Fool's joke, and it took off so well that they started holding tournaments. One of the Yakuza games did so much effort porting a Virtual Fighter game, they were able to put it as a standalone on digital storefront. Like, that's hysterical to me. That's a riot to me. Mahjong was always something I wanted to, like, really try. I don't know. I thought Mahjong, when I played it before, I thought it was really easy. I mean, you just pick the two tiles that are the same and they disappear. I mean, that seems pretty simple. I love when people were like, this is Mahjong? This is way different than I thought. I thought this game was way more complicated. If you want to learn Mahjong, I can introduce you. Well, I also have several of the Yakuza games. So, which is the Yakuza game that has Mahjong in it? The best way to win in Mahjong was using cheat item. No, I was actually, that's technically Shanghai, right? Is like the version of Mahjong with the tiles where you click the two of them and they disappear. Isn't that technically a version of the game called Shanghai? Like it's like how cards, like you get a deck of cards, 52 cards, you can play a bunch of different games with them. Isn't the Mahjong tiles? Isn't that how that works? Like Shanghai is that game. Yeah, that Mahjong. Yeah, it's like a solitaire. It's a form of solitaire. I haven't played that in a long time too. I will say a shocking number of reviews of Thousand Year Door Switch are marking it down for not changing enough, which I still think is silly. Yeah, I mean. We had talked about it earlier. Do you change too much or you change not enough? But I feel like, to me, that's a good sign because I still think that game holds up as is. So if it's the same game but better, like quality of life and better graphics, I'm fine with it. I think that's what I need. The only Mahjong I know, the team. Oh, Yakuza 1. Okay, it's Yakuza 1. The only Mahjong I know is the dev team for Minecraft. No, wait, that's Mojang. Other news, apparently Vanillaware is already hiring for a new action. Vanillaware for a new action RPG. What would I like to see out of Vanillaware? What would I like to see out of Vanillaware for a new action RPG? Give me a second here. I'm looking up. I'm going to switch you over to somebody else. You know what I'd like to see? You know what I'd like to see from Vanillaware? I think this was Vanillaware that did this game. Remake Princess Crown. Bring Princess Crown back. And that game was on the Saturn. I don't think there was a PlayStation version of that game. It was on the Saturn. It was pretty decent. but obviously a lot of people didn't play it. I would say bring that back. I think that's it'd be interesting for them to go back, right? You just had a brand new game. So I think it'd be interesting, especially for an action game. I think it'd be interesting to go back to their old catalog and bring something back that people didn't get a chance to play. Oh no, am I being able to? No, you're fine, Kia. That's totally fine. I missed today's. I was like, oh wait, where's today's update? Port Dragon Crown to PC. But that's not a new game. That would just be a port. If they're hiring for a new game, I'm wondering what I would like to see, and what I think I'd like to see out of them is bring back Princess Crown. Yakuza is good, but doesn't have all the rules. Oh, 14 has everything in it. Considering it was an April Fool's, they went really hard into it, and the devs still find it surprising just how many play it worldwide. I'm also, I don't know, I was kind of interested in what Mahjong seems like it would be really complicated. It seems like, and I think it's just because of all the symbols and the tiles and stuff. It just seems like it would be complicated. Give me 1 second here. You better not be leaving. Okay. But that, I didn't even know it was in the game. Yeah, it was like they kind of threw it in there. No. What says Yakuza is good, but doesn't have, oh yeah. I remembered hearing that a while ago, and I forgot. I knew it was Yakuza. I didn't remember if it was in 14. Mahjong stream when? Be kind of interesting. Right there. I mean, Mahjong's a multiplayer game. That'd be kind of. I wonder if there is a Mahjong. Okay, I'll have to look that up later. But thank you everybody for stopping and for hanging out. Very, very, very much appreciated. All right. Tomorrow we should have off. That should be a lock for having off. So I don't think that there's any chance of me going live tomorrow. Sometimes there is, but I don't think there will be tomorrow. Thursday. We're going live early. I'm going to come home. I'm going to go pick up the game. I'm going to come home. I'm hoping and praying that they don't screw me over, that there's not some mix-up with my game. I'm going to go, and I'm going to pick it up, and I'm going to get some food. What I'll probably do is I'll get some stuff, and then I'll, set the crock pot up with the rice cooker, and that way I've just got food ready to go. So we'll obviously take breaks while we're playing, but noon, which is 2 hours earlier than we usually start, we should be good to go live at that point. We'll see how the morning goes, and we are going to go live with Paper Mario, the Thousand Year Door remake. By the way, Nintendo released a trailer earlier, and they had a post a couple of days ago. It's very weird to me that they keep calling it the Paper Mario, the Thousand Year Door remake. They're calling it the Paper Mario, and that's kind of driving me crazy. They did it. If you look at today's video, they had a launch game trailer sort of thing, and at the end of it, they call it the Paper Mario, the Thousand Year Door, and it's just a weird thing that they did. Imagine you get the game inside the case is Mario and Rabbids, which would suck extra somber because I already have Mario and Rabbids. Yeah, it's such a weird. Let me see if I can find the video here. It's such a weird little thing, but I don't know why they're doing that. What? What? What'd you do that for? Is it just the Paper Mario? No, it's Paper Mario. I don't know if you're joking or not, but it's Paper Mario, and it's so weird that they're doing that. You go here. Nope, that's something different. Where is it? Here, I'll have to search for it. Now, yeah, because now I kind of want to. Is that the new one? This is it here.
Given the day in the Paper Mario, the Thousand Year Door game. Available May 23rd on the Nintendo Switch system.
Why are they saying it that way?
Thousand Year Door game. Chasing down baddies and saving the day in the Paper Mario, the Thousand Year Door game. Available May 23rd. 23rd on the Nintendo Switch.
But it's not. And then it shows the title. It's never been The Paper Mario. It's not The Paper Mario as we're looking at it. It's so strange. It was such a weird little pet peeve. The Bart. It was so, yeah, that trailer, that's the new trailer that they put out today. I did find it kind of weird like that. I was like, why is it like, it's so like, hey, everybody. It sounded like a Crazy Taxi ad. The 1,000, the year, the door. The remake. It is correct how he's saying it because he says game after. No. The Paper Mario, the 1,000-year door game. Like, it's grammatically kind of correct. But, Yeah, just listen. Technically, it's grammatically correct because they are saying it. But that's like, I don't know. That's kind of like if you said the Superman. Sure, it's grammatically correct because he is not just a Superman. He is the Superman. But you wouldn't say the Superman. You say, oh my God, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's the Superman. You wouldn't say that. You would say Superman. So it would just sound kind of weird. Okay. You're still alive, right? Okay. But if you say the Superman film, yeah, I guess so. That would work. I guess that would work. Yeah, I was gonna say Batman, but some people do say the Batman. Yeah, I guess technically that's why it works. In Paper Mario, see, but I feel like that makes more sense. In Paper Mario, the 1,000-year door game. All right, that's just a side tangent. That doesn't mean anything. I don't want to take that. I don't want to drag this out to the point where people start thinking we're insane or I'm insane. All right. But that is going to do it for today. So like I said, we'll be off tomorrow and we'll be back on Thursday. I will keep you posted on Twitter X, to let you know what time we're going to be going live. But if you're going to be here for that, count on us going live at noon. Also, I do apologize. I've been very excited to, hold on, I'm checking something out here. I'm going to pick up the game, pick up some Taco Bell, do some shopping, and then play along. Yeah, probably, get some food. That sounds good. I do apologize. I know that people are probably going to play this game, so maybe they're not going to want to watch it because I am probably going to move at a pace that's quicker than other people might be, since we're going to be playing it for like long stretches. So I apologize if everybody wants to be here, but they don't want to have the game spoiled for themselves. So hopefully we can get through it. Maybe we can get through it before the weekend. The Paper Mario, the 1,000-year door, the game, the remake. RC, that's the game. But yeah, so but that's gonna be Thursday. So like I said, keep an eye on Twitter X, and I'll let you know what's going on. For right now, though, I'm going to send you over to Good Vibes Arcade, Good Vibes Gaming, I should say, official GVG, technically, I should say. He better not leave. He better not be going offline. But he's chatting right now. It looks like it's Daniel, I believe. So stick around after the credits, and I will send you over there to hang out and represent it very well. Hold on a second, I'm getting this loaded up here. Is that person playing Mahjong? No, they're playing Sogi, I think. I don't know what they're playing. God, I hate the way Twitch does this. All right. But thank you once again, everybody, for stopping and for hanging out. Don't forget to drink your mask, wear your water, social distance whenever possible. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I will see you all on Thursday for the beginning of one of the best games, Paper Mario, the 1,000-year door. The Paper Mario.